What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. How y'all doing? How's it going? Y'all good? I needed an extra 15 minutes so I can eat something real quick, because you got to eat food. I just got through cooking some ground turkey for tacos for my son and I. And trying to get him to clean up and straighten up for school tomorrow. So by the time I'm done, he and I can chill out, watch a movie, have some mother and son bonding time. But right now he's eating, early, I guess early dinner. I don't know. Boys eat all day. When they start, they don't stop. So they just keep eating. It is what it is. But shout out to all of you all. What's going on? Y'all good? I am so excited. Y'all, I saw a video on Facebook, and I don't have Facebook, of Kimberly Klacik going over kind of like I want to pull it up, like her thoughts on the Macron case. But like I said, I don't have Facebook. So I was so annoyed. And it was like a 15-second yeah, it was like a 15, not even that. But she said, I decided to weigh in on the Macron versus Owens lawsuit. But I mean, it's like of course I don't have Facebook. So I wanted to just show this part here and read what watch why I think she tripped up this time. Oh my God, please let me have the whole thing. Okay, so she has a whole, let me pull this up. She has a whole website. This is crazy. Okay, let me show y'all what I'm talking about. First of all, let me get some comments in. How y'all doing? What's going on? What's going on, Mr. GS70, number 5? This be pretty interesting. Oh, yes. Never understood why Candace went after her. It's been a while. Yeah, we're going to find out because someone in her chat suggested it to her, I think. Candace Owens just does whatever she, thinks is popular, is going to get her attention. And then when it comes down to a matter of law and it lands in a courtroom, and all of a sudden she plays the victim. So, and this is me telling you all what time we will be ready. Oh, what's going on? Your 2.0 said, I'm reporting you to the boss for being late. Oh, my mods. Where my mods at? I was late, mod. Sorry. Somebody told me bye, Felicia. That's Files. What's going on? Oh man, this is awesome. I hope you guys are doing well. Susie Q, how you doing? I'm just trying to get everybody in. Everybody speak to everybody. What's going on, Francisco? How you doing? And look here, Foxy's in the house. One of my fantastic moms. Shout out to you. Hello, Queen, and everyone. Hello, Queen. How you doing? What's going on? I was late, Foxy. Yeah, they wanted me to. I'm in trouble. I appreciate you. Set my clock 15 at 50 minutes, so you still on time. Awesome. What's up, LLC? All good. We appreciate you whenever you come on. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all tuning in because I know you don't have to. So many content creators out here on YouTube, over 1 billion users, and you guys choose to hang out with me, and that is a blessing to me. It is an absolute blessing. I appreciate it dearly, and you all have no idea what's going on. Poetry Princess, what's happening here? Everybody speak to everybody. Good afternoon from Sharon. How you doing? Listen, let me just pull this up because she has a whole thing, like a whole show or something, and I'm just trying to get to. Do I have to pay for something? Oh man. Okay, let me see. Am I gonna be able? I gotta subscribe to watch. Oh, oh, come on. Yeah, she goes over. Yeah, listen, y'all see this right here? She goes over. Do I have to pay to watch or just subscribe to watch? How does this go? If anybody has this video right here, the French president sues Candace, please send it to me, dear God, because I would love to see what she has to say about it. And she would know, right? Because she's had a lawsuit filed against Candace Owens, so she would know kind of what to expect. Um, let's see. I think, is that the only one she's done? I don't know if that's the only one she's done, because I do want to hear her thoughts on this. What's going on? Jay the Informant, shout out to you, Jay the Informant. I get one of my mods. I don't know who all is in here. Can get one of my mods to drop Jay the Informant. Foxy has a channel as well. Foxy, make sure you drop your YouTube channel link in the chat. You never have to ask. Just drop it in there, girl. And Jay the Informant, shout out to these fantastic content creators as well. Let's show them some support here. I love the honesty here. Thank you, Durka. I appreciate it. I hope I'm saying your name right. I appreciate you. I hope when the trial is over that Candace has so many lawsuits she doesn't know what to do. Yeah, she's gonna have to pay them up. Candace, did you pay the High Court of Australia's court costs? Did you pay the government's court costs? Because you have been ordered in a judgment to pay those court costs, Candace. You see, she never tells those things like that. But she's been ordered to pay in a judgment because they upheld her being banned from Australia. She has been ordered to pay the government's court costs. I don't know how much that is. I wish I did know. I've been looking for something that has an amount because, yeah, we're all wondering if you paid those court costs, Candace. You owe them some money in Australia. What's going on, CJB? That's why I said I don't have Facebook either. Oh man, I don't. Well, why was Candy banned from Australia again? Oh, because they said that she would incite discord in the communities, in segments of the communities. Basically, she would go over there and say all the dumb things she's been saying over here that has led to people getting death threats online. So everything that's happening over here, they were afraid it was going to happen over there in Australia, and they were right. And they were absolutely right. So that's the thing. She knows that what she's saying is very divisive, and it energizes her base, her 5 million candy asses that don't use a brain, and they go out and they cyber harass and cyber stalk people, and it's crazy. Just like the young man that we saw in the live stream yesterday with the green hoodie. He plays on a soccer team. He's a goalie. He just so happened to be out there in the crowd, during the event with Charlie Kirk. And then all of a sudden, months later now, we're talking about in November. Months later, she's pointing out a picture. Who is this person? This looks suspicious. Because he was wearing a green hoodie. Oh, it's hot outside. There were so many other people that had on hoodies and long sleeves. And yet, no, he gets pointed out because he's wearing a green hoodie. And he has a mustache, I guess. I don't know. And it scared the boy. He's like 23, 24. It scared him so bad. He responded and said, no. That's how I dress. Me and my friends, we just dress like that. I play for the soccer team. I'm a goalie. He had to give a rundown. And then she was like, well, that's all. It was that simple. No, it's not. You don't have to call anybody out. That is not for you to do, you heifer. You are harassing people, Candace Owens. You have caused people to be doxxed. She has not denounced the actions of Nicholas Ray, who has 12 counts of making online death threats to at least 3 Jewish conservatives because he listens to Candace Owens. I really hope she gets caught up in that one and be a co-conspirator or something, because that's a criminal matter and she wouldn't be able to escape that. It's so crazy. So shout out to Australia for showing us how it's done. Shout out to the Macrons for showing us how it's done. They're suing her and they're tired of it. Kimberly Klacik did the same thing. But there were some things that were, I guess, as far as the amount, and then she did not meet the burden of proving malice intent because she was running for, an elected official position. She would have had to prove malice intent. and she didn't do that. They ended up having a stipulation. Candace Owens didn't win. And Candace Owens still does not know how to read court documents because, like Piers Morgan said, you're not a journalist. It's just so crazy. It's so crazy. So I only see one video here. This is on, I don't know, WTF.TV. Kimberly Klacik, Kim Klacik Unfiltered. This is her website, I guess. You have to subscribe to watch this stuff. I do want to see this video here. It's like 8 minutes, 12 seconds. Candace Owens sued by French president. And she gives her thoughts on it. But let's go back to her Facebook here. I just want to play what she says. Because I don't have Facebook either. But I do want to play what she says. It's only like a minute. It's like 18 seconds, y'all. It's 18 seconds. Oh my God. Oh my God. And in the comments over here, I don't care about the comments. But you guys can see here in the title. Hold on. I decided to weigh in on the Macron versus Owens lawsuit. Candace claimed I stole campaign funds 5 years ago. Obviously, she was wrong. It says I dismissed, and then I don't see the rest. And I wish I could. I really want to see the rest. Okay, hold on. Here it is, right here. I decided to weigh in. Y'all see this right here? I decided to weigh in. Let me make sure you guys can see that. I highlighted it. Okay. Because Candace has a horrible, trend of lying like hell on people. I decided to weigh in on the Macron versus Owens lawsuit. Candace claimed I stole campaign funds 5 years ago. Obviously, she was wrong. I dismissed the case knowing I couldn't prove malice. She's great at playing dumb. Yes, she is. So this is Kim Klacik's words, here in this video. This was posted up on August 13th, 2025. So after the Macron lawsuit had dropped, it even gives you the date and time. Look at that, Wednesday at 12:15 p.m. And she make this post up on Facebook. And then, of course, you have to watch the full video over on her, I guess, her podcast. But this is what she had to say. We're just going to hear the 18 seconds that we get out of this. But that's what happened. She couldn't prove malice. And she's not lying about it because that's what the court documents reflect, right? Like Piers said, you got to be able to report the facts of these lawsuits and what's in the court documents and separate that from your opinion. But I do agree with Kim when she says that Candace she's great at playing dumb. So this is her MO. She goes to court and plays stupid. But yet she sits on her podcast on YouTube talking about sue me. I want the subpoena power, blah, blah, blah. Because she doesn't understand subpoena power either. Candace doesn't know how subpoena power works. So for her to say stuff like that is an indication to me she's just doing that for show. But when you go to court, you can't go to court now like you're doing a video on your YouTube channel. That's not how that works. So this is why she gets tripped up. This is why she's lost everything. And I can't even say she won the lawsuit that Kimberly Klacik filed against her. Because that's a stipulation. There was a joint stipulation. That means that Candace Owens had to agree to something as opposed to it going through the litigation process. They had to just come to an agreement. Why do that if you felt as if you were going to just flat out win? But see, this is the thing. If you lied about someone stealing campaign funds, that means you're accusing them of violating finance campaign laws. Those are federal laws. Kimberly Klacik could have been federally charged based on Candace Owens' dumbass accusations. So you're accusing someone of criminal activity, not just defamation and some libel here. This is beyond that. And unfortunately, she couldn't prove malice, meaning you did this knowingly and intentionally with a complete disregard of the truth. So my guess is, and I don't want to guess too much because we're going to go over the documents that Kimberly Klacik probably did not try to correct her, like the Macrons are doing, where they're offering photos and, birth announcements and those types of things. Kim Klacik probably did not show that she tried to correct her error, Candace Owens' error, and correct Candace Owens' lies by presenting the truth or just saying there's no evidence, to show that I'm stealing campaign funds. So when you are talking about having to prove malice, that's part of it. You want to show I put out the truth. I have tried to get this person to correct the record, to correct what they're saying. And I've done this at least 3 or 4 times. And now they're showing a reckless disregard of the truth. Because here are the facts here. I don't care what Candace Owens thinks. Her opinions does not equate to facts. Her opinions are just that. But when she purports her opinions to be facts and she's completely false and it can be proven that she's false, that's where you talk about defamation. And then when she's repeating those false statements over and over and over again, now you're talking about a pattern of behavior here. Now you're talking about malicious slander. And what Kimberly Klacik would have had to prove is that there was malicious intent, meaning she was doing this knowing that she was lying about it and that she completely disregarded the truth. That's the thing. That's the key. And that is the difference in what the Macrons have done and what Kimberly Klacik stated that she could not prove, which is unfortunate, right? You got someone accusing you of violating finance campaign laws, federal laws. I mean, I would go back again if I could, but they both stipulated to dismiss with prejudice, meaning she can't refile this lawsuit on that. It would have to be something else. Doesn't mean she can't ever sue Candace again, but it just can't be on that particular, those allegations that she made. So it's unfortunate, but that's so crazy. That is so crazy to accuse someone of violating federal finance campaign laws. I mean, come on. But let's get to this right here. And then you guys put a 1 in the chat if you can see it here. And we're going to play this out for 18 seconds. Okay, I can't even hear. Oh, no.
Penis might exist in France.
Hold on.
Imagine your entire career rides on the fact that a penis might exist in France. Congratulations. You just imagined to be Candace Owens. Look, I've heard of dick riding, but this takes it to a whole new level. You're not going to want to miss what I have to say about the Brigitte Macron-Candace Owens lawsuit.
I want to see this. Y'all, hold on. I want to see the whole video. Kim Klacik, if you're listening, I'm broke. I can't afford to join your thing, girl. Can you just send me that 8-minute video? Oh, man. Oh, I want to hear what you got to say about it. Why does it keep doing that?
Penis might exist. Imagine your entire career rides on the fact that a penis might exist in France. Congratulations. You just imagined to be Candace Owens. Look, I've heard of dick riding, but this takes it to a whole new level. You're not going to want to miss what I have to say about the Brigitte Macron-Candace Owens lawsuit.
I want to know what she had to say. I really want to know what she had to say. God. But either way, we have the complaint. All right. In the circuit court for Davidson County, Tennessee, you guys see Kimberly Klacik versus Candace Owens. Now, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom because this is 12 pages. And I want to do the summary that I got on ChatGPT. We thank God for it. But this was going back to September 17th of 2021. All right. So apparently, Kimberly Klacik went out to, what was she trying to be? Congresswoman or something? I don't know. Y'all let me know what she was trying to. She was out to be an elected official, right? I don't know how much is it to subscribe to watch. There's a monthly fee, $8.99. Hold on, let me share this app so you all can see. Okay. There's a monthly fee premium, and then there's an annual all access USD 69.99 per year. That would have to be like a cash app because the supers only pay out when YouTube pays out. So that would have to be like a cash app thing where I could just do it right quick. But it's $70 for the year and $8.99 a month. So I mean, will it allow you to cancel it? Will I have to be stuck with it? How does this work? I've never heard of this website here. Is this part of YouTube? Gift membership. How does you could gift the membership. Okay, so you could gift the membership. You wouldn't even have to give it to me. You could just gift the membership. That's a thing. So if someone did it and then they gifted, okay, you have to go through and sign in, I guess. So if you want to gift me the thing, that's fine. You know, nobody has to just give me money. If you want to gift me the membership, we could go from there. That way you pay for it and it's under your information, and then you gift it over. It says buy gift, pick a gift to share with family and friends, share details, recipient takes over. There you go. There's an option. I'll put this in here. But I mean, I want to just see that one video. I really do. That would be awesome. There you go. And just in case. Do I need to membership to cut off do I need to remember to cut off a membership? I don't know. I have no idea how this works. Is this a part of YouTube or Facebook? What's this part of? I would think if you gift a membership. Okay, so you wouldn't have to I don't know. Let me not speak too soon. I have no idea. I don't know how that goes. And then if I go to read information on it, you see this page is down. So I wouldn't bother with it. Because if the website is a part of the website isn't working, I get weary of that stuff. That would, I get iffy about those things. So let me see. So this is to claim your gift card. A gift card? Is it a gift card or membership? I have no idea. Yeah, maybe someone get just like hopefully someone may have an account already and they can download that video. I won't want you to put your money out onto this and then we don't know how this goes. So let's just hold back on that because I would not want anyone to waste their money with that. And we're not sure how that works. That's all I'm saying. Because, man, I would not want you to waste your money on that. Very well, probably a good call. Yeah. Is Kim on Rumble? I don't know. Is she on Rumble? Candace was jealous of Kim. I'm sure she was. I mean, she seems like a smart young lady. Right? And then, you have I gotta go back to. Am I going back to the right one? Okay, let me share this. So she seems very smart. She went out and ran for an elected some sort of elected official position. And Candace Owens started this whole nonsense, the whole beef with her. And then of course it went downhill from there. So I did want to show a video of these two, like, having some sort of back-to-back or the accusations itself. So if you guys want, let's check this out on YouTube. There are a couple videos here, but answering false accusations. Last time I addressed it. And what's so sad is that, she probably could have addressed this stuff, a few times and still did not get the chance to really meet that burden of malice, which is unfortunate, right? But we're going over this lawsuit so that you guys can understand it as you've read from Kimberly Klacik's Facebook post that she couldn't prove malice, but yet the pattern is the same. You get Candace Owens lying about something that she cannot prove, and then she comes off like she's asking questions and just giving her opinion. And then, of course, she gets hit with a lawsuit. And guess what Candace Owens did? Filed a motion to dismiss. So she tries to dismiss the entire matter. So let's check out this one. This is like 3 minutes.
Buddy, happy Father's Day.
Okay. So check this one out. This is just a quick one. I just want to get you all to see, some response that she gave to the allegations now that we know what it is, and we're going to go over the lawsuit in a second. I just want you all to kind of hear it from her in a video here and her thoughts on this. And you could tell she was just kind of worn. she looks worn and just irritated with all of this. And it shouldn't take all of that just to go and run for a position, really. But Candace Owens wants to be the only black woman in, I guess, in the conservative party, I guess. And someone comes along and intimidates and threatens her. And look how she treats her. Instead of them trying to work together, instead of Candace saying, let me work with this young lady. Nope. She went out and lied and accused her of violating federal finance campaign laws because of reasons.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Father's Day. So I've been seeing a lot of comments asking me to address this Candace Owens situation. Number one, you guys know I have a full-time job trying to get Candace in the house in 2022. This is what she does all the time, is just talk and stuff. So she has time for this. I can go Instagram live with her if she wants to pick a day and a time, and we can talk about this on live. I know she wants me to go on her show. Number one, I don't usually let people profit off of a conversation with me. Number two, I think that could be edited, especially now that I know the show isn't live. It's like a show that's being streamed online or something. So I'd rather go live so everybody can see everything in its entirety.
Right.
But you know what? I still stand by my statement. For me, we have a lot of people that are very loud and very wrong about what's going on in these inner city communities. People, black people are not brainwashed, as she says. They are not on a Democratic plantation. They are not trained chimpanzees. I know she once made that comment. We are not monolithic. We are really intelligent people, and it's interesting that she says these things because she herself is black, so she's actually talking about herself at the same time, which I never could understand. But unfortunately in inner cities we have a problem with the fact that the GOP isn't present, right? You can't vote for a Republican if they're not running in the inner city, and so that goes back to her other comment as Miss 27%. In Baltimore City, a Republican has never gotten more than 4,000 votes. I got 14,000 votes within 3 months, and that is because we worked hard, we engaged the community, and we're still out there and trying. It's going to take time. You got to chip away at these things. But to throw the 27% up as an insult, it's not an insult. That was huge. We made the biggest gain in the entire country in a Democrat district. The biggest, the largest. We had the #1 political campaign ad. So I'm not hurt by what I did on my very first run for office. I think we did a fantastic job. I thank my team every single day. They're amazing people, and we're still all on board together. But yes, I will go on Instagram live. I think she pulled my FEC report, which is public knowledge. Anybody can do it. She wants to talk about my nonprofit, which is public knowledge. Anybody can do it. It's not actual journalism or anything happening here. So yeah, we can talk about.
It's funny how everyone else can recognize Candace. You're not a journalist. You lied about having 2 degrees, one of them being in journalism, and you didn't even finish school, girl. And she's not even upset about you pulling public information. She's just like, you're just being loud and wrong. You're pulling this information just for what? These are the same things that anyone else can pull. And you're putting out this information just to try to make it seem as if she did nothing. You see how she speaks in her demeanor? The same with Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk calms me down. I'm going to be honest with you. Every time I hear Erica Kirk talk, it calms me all the way down. Very solemn, very somber. She's a mom. She's trying to run a company. And she just has this graceful presence with her. I don't know who Erica Kirk is behind the scenes. But what I see in these videos, in her interviews, is someone that can bring down the temperature in the room. Kimberly Klacik is just saying, she's pulling this stuff and it's for public knowledge. I just don't think it's journalism, especially when you're trying to weaponize it to try to make someone look bad. And then you turn around and lie and say that she violated federal finance campaign laws. See, this is Candace Owens' MO. Let me soundbite and put these things out there to get that person's attention, and then get an interview with them, as opposed to just asking for an interview. So she was doing the same thing to Klacik that she tried to do to the Macrones. I want to get an interview with you. Why? Why do you need to do all of that? It's so childish to sit here and then have to attack someone to the point where you're forcing them to have to respond to you because now you're flat out lying on them, all for you to get an interview when you could have just asked for an interview, Candace. You think like a 12-year-old child, and not even 12. You're very immature in the way you try to go about this, and then you think it's called journalism. No, it's not. It's called you being an idiot, Candace Owens. There's no reason to go that route. If I want to interview Kimberly Klacik, I would just reach out to her and her team and ask for an interview. That's it. I'm not going to sit here and attack someone and then, no, expect them or demand of them to do an interview. It's the same thing she did with the Macrones. Y'all see this pattern? This is how Candace Owens is. And she thinks this is going to work for her long term. Right now, you might be on a high because you're weaponizing the death of Charlie Kirk. But see, when that dies down, and when people are tired of listening to you talk about it, then what? You don't know how to create content, Candace. You get off on lies. You get off on drama, on gossiping, and nothing else. And then you try to erode someone's character. You defame and you attack them. That's her pattern here. And then she wants an interview with that person. It's insane.
About it. We can talk about it live in front of everyone, and I look forward to the conversation. You know, I think somebody said she mentioned something about, you know, the private plane. I can talk about that too. You know, I ran a good race. I ran an honest race. We raised $8.4 million, and I paid myself $0. I'm the one that did not take pay, because this is not for money for me, okay? This is not about money. This is about changing Baltimore City for the best, and it's about making sure we continue to build on the Republican Party. So I look forward to having the conversation. I hope everyone's enjoying their Father's Day. But what we're not going to do is not put respect on my race and my name.
Yeah, you girl. She said what we're not going to do. See, man, now you all see the stark difference between Erica Kirk, Kimberly Klacik, and how they speak. Brigitte Macron and how she's carrying herself and just ignoring the hell out of Candace Owens versus how Candace Owens acts. Y'all see the three different women. And Candace Owens still acts like a petulant toddler. Very well spoken, very well poised. She was like, I'm willing to do an interview with you. What we're not going to do is you not put respect on my name in my campaign. Candace has no respect. None. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. So I just wanted you all to kind of get a feel of, because we all know how Candace Owens talks and how she acts and carries herself. But I wanted you all to just kind of get a feel of Kimberly Klacik. It's only fair that we play both sides of the coin here. And now we're going to go over to the court doc. So since this is 12 pages, I'll read this. I will not read her daggone child. Her the defendant's Candace Owens memorandum of law in support of her motion to dismiss. I'm not reading that whole thing because it's 180 pages. For that, I'll show you all. Here it is. It's 180 pages. We're gonna go to Chat GPT. There's some exhibits in here. Oh man, they got some posts. Okay, we'll check out the exhibits for the posts and stuff like that. But yeah, no. I'm not gonna read her whole I mean, of course she filed the motion to dismiss here. Y'all see this? This is a memorandum. It's no different than a brief. It's basically, you know, where you're laying out a legal argument, where you're bringing in case law and, you know, referencing other cases to help justify your motion to dismiss. But that's what she does. She gets hit with a lawsuit and she files a motion to dismiss. She didn't sit here and say, oh, no, I want to go to the discovery phase and I want subpoena power. No, motion to dismiss, because that's how Candace Owens operates. She doesn't want to go through the litigation. But we're going to read the complaint that Kimberly Klacik filed. Plaintiff Kimberly Klacik, let's zoom in so we can get a good visual on this. Complaining of the defendant, Candace Owens, would respectfully allege and show unto the court as follows. Defendant Candace Owens admits that, 1, she is not an investigative journalist. What? Pause. Y'all see this? Candace Owens is not an investigative journalist. She said so herself. Y'all, oh my God. The one thing she keeps saying. She said, don't let these nuts pull you into the dark side. Oh, they won't, honey. They won't. Y'all, the one thing she keeps saying she said in this lawsuit, she's not an investigative journalist. What? Candace, you damn liar. You're such a liar, Candace. You are such a liar. You say you're not an investigative journalist. Are you kidding me? But yet you go back and say that's what you are? You can't make this up. Oh, my dear Lord. That's the first thing we see here. Defendant Candace Owens admits. This is in a court document, y'all. That, 1, she is not an investigative journalist. You can't make this up. Candace, why are you saying that you're an investigative journalist? Do I need to pull a video of you saying that you're an investigative journalist? Do you understand that the Lucksters here in the Lady Luck Club will pull many videos of you saying that you are an investigative journalist? See, we go on facts here, Candace. You just lie like hell, girl. Bye, Felicia. I can't believe this. 2, the allegations she made were talking about a federal crime, of course. Because if you're saying someone's stealing money from a campaign, that they're violating federal campaign laws, which are federal laws, which is a crime. 3, she had no proof, cannot possibly verify, and could not confirm information she presented as fact. The same thing she does with the Macron lawsuit. Oh, I will stake my entire career on the fact that Brigitte Macron was born a man. No scientific evidence. Then talks about wanting the blood of the first lady. Y'all see the pattern here? Let me know if you see the pattern here. And as you put in the heart in the chat that you see these patterns, hit the like button. Let's not insult the Lady Luck Club. Hit that like button because you know you're enjoying this. Oh my good Lord. I'm just floored at the first thing that she admits. Candace Owens admits she is not an investigative journalist. Candace, why do you keep calling yourself that then? Like, we know you're not, but why do you keep lying and saying you are? And guess what? This was in 2021. 4 years later, Candace Owens, you're still not an investigative journalist. You haven't done anything to become an investigative journalist. You do not have an education. You don't have a certificate or training or anything. So you're still not an investigative journalist. And now you think you can replace the CIA. Candace, that stuff is going to catch up to you. The CIA going to sue the hell out of you for using a logo and the likeness and image of that logo. Do you understand, Candace? You're going to be paying a lot of money to the CIA for using their likeness and image of their logo without their consent and permission. They will never give you permission to use their logo, especially to make money from it, because that's what you're doing. While you sit and disrespect them as if they don't work hard and they're not educated and licensed and certified and trained to do what they're doing. You could never get a job with the CIA, Candace Owens. And I just want you to know it. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. They will never hire you to do a damn thing except maybe clean the toilet. You can't make this up. So she has no proof, as she always never has proof. She knew she was talking about a federal crime that she cannot possibly verify and could not confirm information she presented as fact. And four, the only reason defendant started this was because of what she started as a petty Twitter feud. Let me read that again. The only reason defendant started this was because of what started as a petty Twitter feud. Because Candace Owens is petty as hell, and she's not an investigative journalist. She has no proof of anything. She can never possibly verify this stuff. She has no way to vet her tips. And when it comes down to presenting information, she presents it as a fact because she doesn't understand the definition of an opinion. You can't make this up. Defendant's admissions attended to defendant's publication of false and defamatory statements alleging that plaintiff Kimberly Klacik engaged in criminal activity established the foundation of Ms. Klacik's defamation claim against defendant. Defendant, motivated by this self-proclaimed petty Twitter feud with Ms. Klacik, conducted a 4-day defamatory smear campaign against Ms. Klacik that defendant maliciously portrayed as an investigation, because she always does that. Oh, I'm just asking questions. No, that's called an inquiry. That's not an investigation, Candace. You know, more words you can't define. You can inquire about anything, but you can't claim you're doing an investigation if you're not producing any evidence or documentation from it. See, Candace, the difference is, you know how I emailed your entire enrollment department asking them to confirm if they issued you a degree? That's part of investigation. I don't consider myself to be an investigative anything, though. I claim to be an independent journalist. See, I asked questions. I didn't investigate your background or anything like that. I simply inquired to the school whether they issued you a degree. There's a difference. This is why you're bad at what you do, Candace. You're bad at it. But, of course, defendant maliciously portrayed as an investigation and published a video of defendant's purported findings, including allegations of criminal activity against Ms. Klacik, to defendant's personal social media accounts. Specifically, defendant affirmatively accused Ms. Klacik of tax fraud, dear Lord, campaign fraud, money laundering, oh my God, illegal drug use. Candace, you oompa loompa, you know you walk around looking like you stuck high on glue. Candace, I have a question. Do you smoke weed? Do you do drugs, girl? Do you pop pills? Because there's something that just is unexplainable with your behavior. And I'm asking a question. I'm not even going to investigate whether you do drugs or not. I'm just asking a question. God. Candace is accusing someone of doing illegal drugs. Based on what? Yeah, Candace did say she grew up in low-income housing and, you know, lived with roaches. Then she turned around and lived with black mold for 6 months. It's safe to say Candace has a little brain rot. That's my opinion. Candace got some brain rot. Oh, God. So she accused her of tax fraud, campaign fraud, money laundering, illegal drug use, and acting as a madam. Candace, you are like a 4-year-old kid, a madam. What? Why are you accusing someone of acting like a? You know what? Y'all know what that is, right? It's like the mommy whore. You know, she has girls underneath her. When you're talking about prostitution and all, acting like a madam. How do you accuse someone of acting like a madam? Based on what, Candace? Because they look prettier than you. So Kimberly Klacik is prettier than Candace Owens. And so Candace Owens had to accuse her of tax fraud, campaign fraud, money laundering, illegal drug use, and acting as a madam, simply because Kimberly Klacik is prettier than Candace Owens. That's it. That's what it comes down to. Because I'm a whole grown woman and I know Candace Owens is intimidated and jealous of somebody that is prettier than her, just like Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk is prettier than her. She was a Miss Beauty Queen pageant winner. Candace Owens did none of those things. She lived with black mold and has recurrent yeast infections, according to court documents. See, I don't have to lie about that, Candace. I just read your lawsuits. You accuse black mold of giving you recurrent yeast infections. How's that itchy burning sensation going on there, Candace? There was no truth to the allegations, because of course it wasn't. In making these allegations of criminal activity, defendant claimed to have received information from someone who stripped with Ms. Klacik, and who allegedly told defendant that Ms. Klacik used campaign funds to purchase cocaine and scam people out of millions. These caustic and made-up defamatory allegations are without factual support, because they never are. Candace, where is the scientific evidence to prove that Brigitte Macron was born a man? Where's the DNA that you have to prove that? Oh, she's such an idiot. Defendant published these defamatory statements through defendant's personal social media accounts in a concerted effort to maximize dissemination, to cause severe damage and significant harm to Ms. Klacik's professional and personal reputation. Defendant's allegations against Ms. Klacik of criminal activity are false. As Ms. Klacik stated multiple times, Ms. Klacik did not misuse campaign funds, let alone for drug or any other illicit activity, engage in money laundering, commit tax or campaign fraud, or act as a madam, because she wouldn't have any evidence to prove that stuff. And for the information, like Kimberly Klacik said, pulling up the documents, the registration, dealing with the campaign and all of that, that stuff is public information. You would have to go beyond that to prove someone is misusing those funds. You can't just pull up that information and say, see, here's proof she's stealing money. No, that's not how that works. And if you've ever gone over those campaign contribution expense reports, what you see is what you get there. You would have to show money went from the donor account to whatever account that's supposed to be for the donations for the contribution campaign. And then that money somehow went to Kimberly Klacik's accounts. You would have to get bank account, transfer account information. Something that Candace Owens would not be able to get. So she would not be able to prove something like that. Unless she just invaded on her privacy and stole her information. You know, something Candace Owens doesn't mind doing, doxing people. All the cyber crimes that Candace Owens commits, the audacity. Ms. Klacik not only did not publicly defend his accusations of criminal conduct on Ms. Klacik's personal social media channels, but Ms. Klacik also sent defendant multiple letters. Oh man, y'all see this pattern here? Same thing with the Macrons. Sent multiple letters notifying defendant that her statements were false. Oh, Jesus Christ. Despite repeatedly being notified of the falsity of her statements, defendant refused to remove the defamatory video, because it's the same thing with the Macrons. She refuses to retract the false statements. As of filing this complaint, defendant has yet to remove the video and continues to support and encourage the harassment of Ms. Klacik by other individuals who embrace defendant's defamatory statements. So, you know, all those other YouTubers that are out here repeating this bullshit that Candace Owens puts out about anyone at this point, because she doesn't ever have facts to prove anything. Yeah, you're disseminating the false information. And yet the candy asses come over here to my channel in my comment section talking about, am I being paid by Israel? Prove it. No, but prove it. Benjamin Netanyahu owes me millions, apparently. God. This is how they do. And they don't care that they could be named as co-defendants at some point, because they are further disseminating her false statements with no evidence. It's not in the name of journalism. That's gossiping. That's all that is. You're just disseminating whatever she says. You're just repeating it. There's no integrity with it either. They don't even think twice about it. They don't ever think Damn it, if she gets sued, maybe my channel gets named in that. Why would I want to be associated with that? Because now Megan Kelly is lying, saying she never met her. She's not friends with her. She doesn't watch her channel, and she doesn't take in that type of content. Megan Kelly, you know you screwed up. As opposed to you saying, you know, I screwed up, repeating this nonsense from Candace. Now you want to pretend like you never met her and you don't know her. Oh, okay. Keep on with that nonsense, girl. Defendant's tortious conduct caused and continues to cause substantial injury to Ms. Klacik's reputation in professional and personal relationships. Ms. Klacik has lost and continues to lose financial opportunities, media appearances, and political support as a direct result of the defendant's malicious and wanton statements. Examples of such lost opportunities include the cancellation of a book deal. Good grief, cancellation of a book deal. Losing the sponsorship of a nationally recognized media vendor, canceled fundraisers, and lost support of previous political donors. Ms. Klacik and her family continue to be harassed daily because that's what Candace and the candy asses do. They will cyber harass you. That includes bullying, doxing, stalking, putting out information about you and your family, even though your family has nothing to do with it. But they'll do all of that as a measure to intimidate you. People have been subjected to online death threats because of Candace Owens. And she has not denounced Nicholas Ray's 12 counts that he's facing for doing that because he listened to her. And I hope that he mentions that in his interrogations and all the affidavits. I hope they reiterate over and over again that Nicholas Ray was heavily influenced by Candace Owens. And he did this in her name. I hope he continues to tell the truth about that because he already said his influences were a neo-Nazi and Candace Owens. Candace, you ought to be proud that you're sitting next to a neo-Nazi as having influenced somebody to send online death threats to 4 Jewish conservatives. You should be proud, you demon. Ugh. Ms. Klacik and her family continue to be harassed daily, with Ms. Klacik specifically receiving harmful and degrading comments because of the defamatory claims made by the defendant. Kimberly, I'm sorry, girl. You're not the only person that's been subjected to, you know, the candy asses, the cult members coming after people. You're not the only one. They do this to anyone they think is a threat to her, even though she never proves to them nothing. She won't even tell them that she filed a motion to dismiss in the Macron lawsuit because she's a coward. Defendant has defamed and injured Ms. Klacik. Accordingly, Ms. Klacik initiates this action to vindicate her rights under civil law and seek compensatory and punitive damages as a result of defendant's conduct. Y'all, this is something else here. You guys see this pattern of behavior. You see this pattern of behavior here with Candace Owens. This is what Candace Owens, she subjects people to this type of cyber harassment. It's a cyber crime, Candace. It's called cyber crime. Do you understand you could be reported to the FBI? If not, maybe you should find out the hard way that what you're doing is a cyber crime. Especially when you're asking people to send you information on someone specifically. Or you're pointing out some kid who goes to a university, plays on the soccer team, and is wearing a green hoodie, and you find that suspicious. Why is a green hoodie suspicious? Candace is a clown. Let's get some comments in. Somebody said, what's going on? Raw. Is it, am I saying this right? Raw? Lee Allen? Yes, it is. Do your research. Candace has no empathy, meth behavior. Shout out to Manny. Oh man. She lived with Mo for 6 months and didn't pay her rent. She don't want nobody to know that. So Megan says, what's going on with you? How you doing? Candace doesn't understand the first thing about being a journalist. She has no journalistic integrity, and that is the standard set for the industry. Absolutely. Yuck 2.0 says, Raw, search for Candy's 2 degrees. Can't find them. You should look too. Let us know what you find. Exactly. I emailed the school. Within 1 to 2 business days, they'll be responding to me. Because I just asked a question, Candace. Because you said you have 2 degrees. So let's see if they issued a degree to you. That's all. You said it twice. It doesn't pay to lie. And that's not a secret, Candace. It shouldn't be. If you're working in your field and you got a degree in it, such as journalism, you would think you want to actually showcase your degree. But why lie about having a degree that you have not obtained? That's a dumb lie to tell. And yes, it would be important because she could have just kept it to herself about her education, right? She's not telling anybody whether she got a degree or not. She put it out there. When you put it out there and you're using this education to go out and do things in the name of your education, then people are going to inquire whether or not you have completed that education and received a degree. Because you're putting out statements, you're doing these so-called investigatory pieces, 8-part series on whole president's wives of another country, all under this cloak of being an investigative journalist, even though you said in this court document, you admitted that you are not an investigative journalist. What has transpired in the last 4 years for Candace Owens to automatically think that now she is? When she admitted, according to court documents, she is not an investigative journalist. You would think that if she wanted to consider herself that, maybe she does have an education or degree, but she doesn't. But when you go and admit to the court, I'm not an investigative journalist, why would you turn around and say that you are, Candace? I don't give a damn about your YouTube channel. You're telling the court and in court documents under the penalty of perjury, you're not an investigative journalist. So you think you would stick to that? So why go back and lie on your channel? Why go back and do that? So this is the thing. This is where that proof of that degree comes into play. Because now she's saying, I have 2 degrees, which somehow in her mind makes her qualified to say and do what she does on her YouTube channel. Do y'all understand that? If you walk around and you say, I have a medical degree, so I get to give some level of expertise and disseminate information to the public regarding medicine, people are going to ask, okay, where's this degree at? Most people who have the degree will be able to prove they have a degree. But she has not been able to do that. And not one shred of evidence out here exists that she attended a school and got a degree. She says she re-enrolled. But when did that happen? Why won't she say the name of the school? And how do you come out with 2 degrees when you only started out studying 1 degree, one major? You would need 4 years of education for a bachelor's degree in anything. You don't go and complete 1 year of education and then now you come out with 2 bachelor's degrees. What the hell is that? What kind of school did you go to? Just say what you went. Post it up, Candace, because she's a public figure. So when she makes these statements, it resonates. And she's doing it on the idea that she has these degrees and she has the education to do what she's doing. Okay, fine. Produce the degrees. That's all we're saying. Produce the damn degrees. Does that make sense? You don't want someone saying, I have a law degree, so I can speak on these matters regarding law, and then they can't produce a law degree. You're like, no, you lie like hell, and we don't want you to say nothing. So what? It is not a hidden thing. Exactly. All I have to do is email the school to confirm if they issued a degree. That's how easy it is. That's exactly what I did. And in 1 to 2 business days, they're going to say whether or not they issued a degree. The end. So whether or not she has degrees, that's she put that out there. You think she will want to prove it. But until she does, while she's telling the court she's not an investigative journalist and then goes back and says she is and lies about it, then we're going to find out if she's been issued a degree or 2. I just want to see if she's been issued 1. I mean, it's the craziest thing ever. No one likes to be lied to like that when you're sitting here putting people's livelihoods in jeopardy. Facts are facts. Laws are laws. And none of that stuff cares about how you feel. If she wants to cite her opinion, then she should understand the definition of opinion and then leave it at her opinion. But she is purporting opinions to be facts and making statements as if they're facts. And that is what's getting her effed up every time. That's the problem. And then she wants to sit here and make it seem like she's transparent. Nope. Yeah, the candy asses up in the chat. Yeah, shout out to the candy asses coming up in here trying to tell me something they ain't. To all the candy asses, you're not proving no point to me, honey. How about you all get Candace to tell you all why she filed the motion to dismiss for the Macron lawsuit when she said she wouldn't? Because she doesn't have to lie about these things, but she does. That's sad. It's disgusting that she feels like she needs to lie. So I want to get in some comments. That's all I'm saying. It's nice to see that candy asses have nothing to do with their lives but to harass people. Exactly. What's going on, Carmel? What's going on, Michelle? How y'all doing? By the way, candy ass, I can prove it. Oh, there you go. There you go. We have one fat Candace. Do you have degrees? Are you a Catholic? we one fat Candace. Do you have degrees? Yeah, it's the one thing. Can you just prove one thing, Candace Owens? That's all we saying. Can we get someone from the Code of Candy Ass to convert? No. They won't even ask her questions, man. Let's see. Yeah, the LLC and the Candy Ass is still saying no, Candace show is number 1 in the world. Well, we've debunked that. We Googled it. We looked it up. They can research and Google the same thing. But it's like to them, they feel humiliated when they're faced with the fact that it's not true. She's not number 1 in the world. That is a Google search. And if thou knoweth how to read, to the candy asses, if you know how to read, you can Google that. Is Candace Owens podcast number 1 in the world? And it's going to give you a ranking of all the other shows that are. Joe Rogan is in top 3. She is not surpassed Joe Rogan. You understand? That is a Google search. I challenge all the candy asses to Google it. Just Google it. We don't have to debate on that. They can Google. They just don't want to be humiliated when they realize that the internet is undefeated and she's lied yet again. But Google it. We're not trying to prove anything to you all. We don't. There's no point. Let them Google it, and then they can research it, and they can see what it says for themselves if they know how to read. It's so funny to me. They act like they don't know how to read. Yeah, it's so crazy. Easy. Exactly, Diane. What's going on? How you doing? Lulu, they can't read though. Exactly. Yeah, the candy asses is proven they don't read. They don't read nothing. They want me to read all the stuff, and then they want to sit here and debate, negate everything I'm reading. Here's in the court document to the candy asses. Candace Owens admits that she is not an investigative journalist. Point proven. She's not an investigative journalist. What are we talking about? She's proven that she sat this to the court. She has admitted this. This is what is being submitted to the court. Oh, there was a jury demand for this as well. This is what was submitted to the court under the penalty of perjury. Why don't y'all go back and challenge her on saying, hey, did you ever tell the court in court documents in a lawsuit that you are not an investigative journalist? And why would you say that? That's all they got to do, but they won't do that for reasons. They think they're coming over here to prove a point to me. That stuff don't work on me. None of that stuff work on me. And all that stuff they be talking about, I'm waiting on Benjamin Netanyahu to send me a check. Come on, Benjamin Netanyahu. You owe me millions, bro. that stuff don't work on me. None of that stuff works on me. It's so crazy. Yeah, let's get back to it. Let's see here. We've already gotten to her lost opportunities, which is crazy in and of itself. Defendant, number 8. Defendant has defamed and injured Miss Klacik. Accordingly, Miss Klacik initiates this action to vindicate her rights under civil law, seek compensatory and punitive damages as a result of defendant's conduct. Parties. Plaintiff Kimberly Klacik is a businesswoman and the former Republican nominee for the 7th Congressional District. Okay, so she was running to be a oh wow, okay, cool. Ms. Klacik is also the current president of Red Renaissance, Inc., a non-connected political action committee registered with the Federal Election Commission that supports federal candidates who embrace and espouse freedom of speech, revitalization of urban areas, economic empowerment, family planning, increased police funding, and women and minority leadership. Ms. Klacik is domiciled in Baltimore County, state of Maryland. Defendant Candace Owens is a nationally recognized author, talk show host, political commentator, and social media personality. Defendant is domiciled in Davidson County, state of Tennessee, jurisdiction and venue. This court has personal jurisdiction over the defendant pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated Statute 20-2-222. Upon informed belief, defendant Candace Owens is an individual residing in Davidson County, domiciled in the state of Tennessee. This court has subject matter jurisdiction over this matter pursuant to Tennessee Code Statute 16-10-101. Venue is proper in this court pursuant to Tennessee Code Statute 20-4-101A. Davidson County, Tennessee is the county where the individual resides. All right, statement of facts. Ms. Klacik is a resident of and a longtime advocate for the city of Baltimore. Her passion for Baltimore and her desire to make the city better motivated her to run for Maryland's 7th Congressional District and turned her congressional campaign into a multi-million-dollar race. Ms. Klacik now uses her platform as a former congressional candidate to help champion the African American community by supporting African American political candidates in state and federal races across the country. Defendant is a high-profile conservative talking head who is notorious for outrages and oh man, defendant is a high-profile conservative. Is she still conservative? Is Candace Owens still a conservative? That's what I want to know. Is she still a Republican? Now she like she hates Trump. She hates the Conservative Party. She hates Jews. She hates Israel. She hates everything that the Conservative Party stands for, right? Y'all let me know, because I'm neither. I'm neutral. I'm A for American. So is she still in the Conservative Party? She's a big lefty. Is she? Because y'all know I don't do left or right. But I'm just trying to figure out, like, who still claims her in the conservative movement here? Has she just decided I'm just giving up? She was, Lord, y'all, I'm not having one of these days. I keep dropping stuff. I just dropped my coffee cup. Luckily it has a lid. Oh, Lord. As far as you might want to sit down and chill out, girl. Megan said she was never a real conservative or Christian. Wow. Candace is in Candace La La Land. What's going on, Beth? How you doing, Beth? Hope all is well. How's it going? Kim's daughter is main motivator for her. It seems like, right? Tucker Looney, but MTG. Candace is a grifter. Let's see. She was always just grifted off of others' beliefs and principles. She doesn't actually have any herself. You know what's so crazy, Megan? The reason why I'm proud to be neutral and independent here is because I believe in just making decisions that's best for Americans and best for people and being empathetic, you know, which is why I could be empathetic to Erica Kirk and her plight just as much as I could if it was anyone else who were a part of the Democratic Party. I don't need to see left or right. I see human beings with a soul and a conscience. There are decisions that are made that we agree with and don't agree with on both sides. But it doesn't mean that you should not be humane. It doesn't mean that you go around here lying on people and lying on them to the point where they're being harassed, where their family is being harassed, where they're being stalked, where they're being bullied, doxing people. People being doxed because of Candace Owens. Doxed. She's doxing people and companies that have nothing to do with Charlie Kirk's death. And yet she doesn't care, but she has no evidence. She doesn't have the authority to dox anyone. So, I mean, for me, I'm like, why would the conservative party still want to claim her anyway? I don't get it. So it says here, defendant is a high-profile conservative talking head who is notorious for outrageous and controversial statements such as white supremacy and white nationalism is not a problem that is harming Black America. That's because Candace Owens hates being Black. Then that's how I feel about it. Then Candace Owens hates being Black, so of course she wouldn't have a problem with white supremacy. She hates being Black. Yep, then that's all I got. Defendant has a large social media following, including 3.9 mil Instagram followers, 5.1 mil Facebook subs, and 2.74 Twitter followers. These are in the millions, people. With the number of followers across all social media accounts consistently increasing because she keeps lying on people. Juneteenth is a holiday celebrating the end of slavery in the U.S. It is a significant day in American history, with many scholars classifying Juneteenth as the United States' second Independence Day. On June 18th, 2021, President Joseph Biden declared Juneteenth a federal holiday. On June 18, 2021, defendant launched a post from her personal Twitter account assailing President Biden for declaring Juneteenth a federal holiday. In one of those posts, defendant stated, "Sometimes I wonder when, if ever, Black America will wake up to the psychological warfare and perpetual brainwash to believe everything is racist." Who said that was racist? It's just a day of celebrating the day that slaves were free, right? The ending of slavery. What does that have to do with racism? Candace Owens doesn't understand the definition of racism. And Candace Owens hates being Black. So, Black, Candace hates it. It's ridiculous. Ms. Klacik replied on her personal Twitter account to defend this post, stating, "Believe it or not, many in Black America are very aware the fight is about classism rather than racism. Unfortunately, the loudest mouths with the largest platforms represent the majority. This might come to a shock to you because of your lack of engagement with Black people." Exactly. How often do you all see Candace Owens around Black people? Didn't her cousin do an interview? One of you all sent me the video link of her cousin, Candace Owens' cousin, doing an interview with a content creator. One of the things, I did watch some of it, not all of it, but one of the things she said was, Candace Owens has always been the way she is. So, I mean, the fact that she doesn't understand the definition of the word nationalism, I guess, is something that she's always never been able to do. That's what that tells me. Like, you don't know the definition of the word nationalism, Candace. So I'm just going to assume you never knew it. Or what UTC stands for. UTC. But this is the person that you're getting. Can you imagine? It's someone that they had to grow up with. Oh, dear Lord. So I can only imagine Candace Owens like disowning her family members and relatives if she didn't care for them simply because they were Black, or not really dealing with them, or not spending time with them, or hanging around them. Do you hear her talk about her family like that? Candace doesn't really talk about her family like that, even like with her husband and kids, because she's been, obsessing over Charlie Kirk, but doesn't talk about his kids or his wife, anything that would make her feel more jealous than she really is. You don't really hear her say anything about that. Candace, you do realize your children are mixed with Black, right? Are you going to just not tell them that? How's that going to go? So they won't have anything to be proud of regarding their heritage. You can't make this stuff up. But she wasn't wrong in saying this, because you don't see Candace Owens having like Black people on her show. And then the people she wants to invite on her show is because she wants to antagonize them, not necessarily get to know them, to interview them. There's a difference. You can't make this up. So what's wrong with having a holiday celebrating slaves being freed? And that's it. It's just that simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. On June 20, 2021, Ms. Klacik replied to several individuals on Ms. Klacik's Instagram account who asked Ms. Klacik about the Candace Owens situation. Ms. Klacik stated that she was invited to appear on Candace, the Defenders podcast. However, Ms. Klacik declined the invitation. She declined the invitation, stating the show can be edited because it is streamed online. Ms. Klacik added, I don't normally let people profit off of a conversation with me because Candace can't help herself. She still plays ads in her videos talking about Charlie Kirk's death. Candace, you lie about so much. You can't even be honest about that. And then she said the one video, Candace said the one video where she did the tribute did not have ads. Okay, how many of you all believe that? How many of you all believe that that one video where she does the tribute to Charlie Kirk does not have ads in it? Candace, do we have to pull this up? I mean, how bad is this lie going to be? Because you said that one video that you did does not have ads in it, right? She went from heavily talking about the Macrons to immediately switching over to Charlie Kirk. She must have turned them back off because she had them on. She had them on. I sincerely tried to be neutral with her. Believe it or not, when I started talking about Candace Owens, I tried my best to be neutral when it came to her. And then realized this girl lies about stupid stuff. I don't see any ads in here or any sponsors in it. So this is the one video out of the 60 videos, that she's done. Maybe 50 good videos she's done where she does not have sponsors or ads in it. But all we're getting here is just Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk. For weeks on end. Weeks on end. You can't make this up. A show a day, 5 days a week. All about Charlie Kirk. Plus the YouTube shorts. So she makes money from that. Whenever she puts out those YouTube shorts. And then she goes and tweets about it over there on X. On Instagram. So she's making money from all these different platforms. That's what people mean, Candace, in case you didn't realize that. You're making money from these different platforms, weaponizing the death of Charlie Kirk. You claim to be a friend and don't care about people catching death threats along the way. Or you are out here singling out somebody for wearing a green hoodie as if that young man deserved that when he didn't. It's disgusting. Let's get back to it. Okay. So she said no. She declined the actual invitation. I don't blame her. If you're going to lie about me committing finance campaign violations, no, I don't want to have an interview with you either. The same thing with the Macrons. Why would Brigitte Macron want to interview Candace Owens? Why? For you to still try to be condescending and antagonizing with her? Hell no. Kick rocks. Nope. So on June 21, 21, defendant responded to Ms. Klacik's comments, accusing Ms. Klacik of not being authentic and disabling comments on Ms. Klacik's own social media account, stating, LOL to you, disabling comments on your last post. You are such a fake and hilarious person. Candace, you sound stupid. You are such a fake and hilarious person. What? How? Can somebody make sense of this? LOL. This is Candace Owens. It says here, defendant responded to Ms. Klacik's comments. This is what she was stating. LOL to you. Look, this is how Candace talks. LOL to you. Disabling comments on your last post. And So what? Your candy asses are ridiculous. It's like reading gibberish trying to read their comments. So what's the difference? I'd rather not read them. I mean, she disabled her comments. So what? Because your candy asses are coming in saying dumb things like you talk. They talk like her. You are such a fake. You are such a fake. Okay. And hilarious. But you calling her fake and hilarious? You can't make this stuff up. You are such a fake and hilarious person to keep trying to denigrate the Daily Wire as a computer show. When did she say that? Huh? Candace, I don't even understand your comeback. This is not a comeback. You are such a fake and hilarious. Let me read it how Candace wants to read it. LOL to you, disabling comments on your last post. You are such a fake and hilarious person to keep trying to denigrate the Daily Wire as a computer show. Computer shows, meaning digital podcasts, YouTubers, etc., have a larger reach than cable news, which I also go onto. Again, you are doing nothing here but exposing yourself. No, she's not. She's ignoring you because you talk like a 12-year-old kid, like one of those mean girls in school that bully people. That's how you talk here. Who cares what the Daily Show is? What does that have to do with you lying on her, saying that she is committing finance campaign fraud? What do you mean? This is your response to the horrible allegations? It's her. No, this is your response to her declining to come on your show, saying that it can be edited, meaning she didn't want it to be an edited show that's streamlined. She wanted it to be live streamed so that whatever happens, happens. We're seeing it in real time. So Candace doesn't understand the difference between an edited show that can then be live streamed and broadcast later on versus a live stream show. If I'm doing this live stream, what I'm doing now, I don't have a script. Y'all just kind of go whatever come up, come out. I don't need to have a script. I don't make edits to my live streams. I don't do none of that. Y'all get the real me, mistakes and all. When the software frees up or you can't hear or see something, guess what? We winging it. We going along with it as we go. That's it. I'm not sitting here trying to edit things and all this stuff to give off this image that I'm perfect. So Kimberly Klacik's idea of doing a live stream show is, I want to do this live stream. You know how to do a live stream show, don't you? Nothing has to be scripted and edited. Just do a live stream on it and let it air the way it is. That's all she was saying. If you're on YouTube and you understand how YouTube works, Candace Owens, you can just go live. You don't have to script and edit everything. Just go live. That's all Kimberly was saying to you. And you could not do that. You couldn't promise her that you would do a live stream show with her where you don't edit anything. You just let it flow. So how is that exposing herself? What she's doing is trying to stay transparent while you're sitting here getting mad because you want to have her on your show. She said, no, kick rocks. Bye, Felicia. And now you want to talk about her exposing herself. No, she just declined your invitation. You can't make this up. On the same day, defendant posted a series of videos to her personal Instagram account via Instagram stories, stating Kim wants clout, Candace wants change. Oh, God. Candace, you talk like a teenager. The defendant then stated that Ms. Klacik blocked defendant from social media. Yeah. And who wants to read this nonsense and gibberish all day? Just because you have not mastered English, Candace, does not mean people want to read that nonsense that you put out there. In the same series of Instagram stories as republished in Newsweek, defendant teased to her almost 4 million Instagram followers that she had discovered some incredible information about Miss Klacik that will blow your minds, because that's what she does. This is a pattern of behavior I want you all to pay attention to here. Same thing she's done with the Macrons and anyone else she goes after. Now she's trying to erode and tear down Turning Point USA, and it's really not working right now. She's making herself look really bad. Defendant also claimed that defendant could not cover the information on her podcast because defendant needed to unpack everything and make sure every piece of information was verified, because she never does verify anything. Candace, what is your vetting process? Because I've given mine. How do you vet your information, Candace Owens? Because I don't think you do. You gave a tip of a woman who said to you flat out she was paid to tell you a tip. Why would you think that's credible? If someone is paid to tell you something, don't you think they will lie if they're being paid to tell you whatever? They could be reading some information on a piece of paper simply because they were being paid to do it. That doesn't mean that what they're saying is true because they were paid to do it. I would question it even the more. Somebody send me an email saying I was paid to send you this email. I'm deleting that. I'm not reading that nonsense. You were paid to do that? Okay, bye. Get the hell out of here. I would be more weary of something like that because you could be telling me anything simply because you were paid to do it. But see, because Candace Owens is not an investigative journalist, which she admitted to in this court document, and she doesn't understand how journalism works. Of course, she has no way to vet any of her information. Of course she doesn't. Candace, you're bad at this. Instead of verify, defendant chose to vilify. It's that simple. On June 22nd, 21, the defendant published a live video on defendant's Instagram and Facebook accounts. A true and correct transcript of the video is attached to the complaint as Exhibit 1. The duration of the video, and then they have the link here, is about 44 minutes long. The video has since been republished on social media platforms, including on YouTube, by individuals who, upon info and belief, have personal relationships with the defendant. In the video, the defendant affirmatively accuses Mrs. Klacik of engaging in criminal activity. You know, because Candace Owens still is not a CIA investigator or an FBI investigator. She doesn't even show proof that she has a damn degree in journalism. So now you can accuse someone of engaging in criminal activity based on what now? Yeah, okay. Specifically, defendant made bold, untrue allegations that include Miss Klacik used campaign money to do cocaine. You can't make this stuff up. Participated in money laundering, tax fraud, and campaign fraud. Paid vendors in order to move money off the books. Was the person who helped bring a lot of strippers into a strip club that defendant alleges was owned by Miss Klacik's estranged husband. Was a madam of that strip club and has been scamming people for millions. Criminal allegations. All of that are criminal allegations. Allegations you would need evidence. Get this, Candace Owens, because you don't know how this works. So let me teach you something. You would need evidence that would prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Because if it landed in court, it would be a criminal matter if Miss Klacik was ever charged with these so-called criminal allegations. And the burden to meet would be to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. That is the type of evidence you would need to prove any of this bullshit stuff you said about this woman is true. It would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. But because Candace doesn't understand how these things work, she will never, ever be able to bring forth that type of evidence or documentation. She can't prove these things. Candace is the real. Yeah, she the real candy ass. It's so unreal. I'm just sitting here like reading this, like I can't believe this, y'all. I hate to see this. You hate to see this stuff. Let's see here. I just put the tribute video in now. There's no ads again. It did have YouTube ads in the second time I watched it. Watched it. She didn't do sponsors, but it had mini roll ads. Exactly. I saw it myself. It was ads in it. It was ads in it. And then she took them out because people called her out on Good. Oh my God. You can't make this stuff up. Thank you for your support. Oh, it's a $5 super. Thank you. Jill, I appreciate you. The $5 super. Candace is crazy. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Oh, look at this. $2.99 super from the Nerve Ensemble. Thank you, LLC. Candace is gone. She done lost her mind. Candace, you came up in my chat again, girl. Don't come up in here unless you got evidence. I'm not entertaining your buffoonery. You understand? You want to come up in here? You show me a copy of your degree. I want to see your degrees. You said you got 2 of them. I want to see your degrees, Candace. That's it. That's all I want to see. That's it. You drop out. You ain't got no damn degrees. And I want to see proof. Don't come up in my chat unless you got some evidence. And I want evidence and documentation from the schools that you obtained this from. And if I call the schools and reach out to them, they better have a copy of what you got to. You see? That's how you corroborate things. Because I'm going to find out from the University of Rhode Island in a couple of days, in 1 to 2 business days, as that email said, whether or not they issued you a degree. Because we can all ask questions. We can all ask questions here. Loyal says so people need to do full out download all her stuff and do a deep dive investigation on her character and history. Exactly, yeah. Because she's a horrible person. She's bringing forth criminal allegations against someone, and she's not a criminal investigator, and she had no evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt if it ever went to a court of law. Candace, you are horrible. You're absolutely horrible. You're very bad at this, girl. I told you that 2 weeks ago. So you've already admitted to the court you're not an investigative journalist. You've already admitted that 4 years ago. We don't need to keep proving that you're not. You've said it yourself. And I love it. I'm going to keep pulling this up. This might be my thumbnail. Yeah, that's going to be the thumbnail, y'all. Her admitting she's not an investigative journalist. That's going to be the thumbnail. Oh, my good Lord. All right, let's get back to it. Defendant, when making the criminal allegations, acknowledged the accusations were regarding federal crimes, would paint Ms. Klacik in the wrong light, and defendant's investigation into Ms. Klacik was motivated by a petty Twitter feud between defendant and Ms. Klacik. Defendant publicized the criminal allegations without factual support because she never does. Defendant's main evidence for the criminal allegations purportedly came from a stripper who used to work for Ms. Klacik and who supposedly told defendant that some of the criminal allegations were true. Candace, that's not how this shit works. Defendant also admitted that she had no proof, cannot possibly verify, and could not confirm the criminal allegations. Nevertheless, defendant continued to publish and republish as fact. Y'all see that? As fact. Same thing she does with the Macrones. That Ms. Klacik engaged in criminal activity and that defendant's investigation supported these claims. You got to be kidding me. Defendant can't do an investigation when she already admitted that she's not an investigative journalist. So what the hell is she doing? Gossiping and lying. Candace, you lied like hell, girl. The criminal allegations that defendant made against Ms. Klacik are false and defamatory. Defendant claims Ms. Klacik was madam of a Baltimore strip club. Ms. Klacik never was a madam. You know, the fact that she has to debunk these stupid ass allegations like this because this is the best that Candace Owens could come up with is baffling to me. It seems like Candace Owens is the one that's got a lot of time on her hands to make up some of the dumbest allegations that she can't even prove with evidence. Cannot possibly verify. Could not confirm. She said this. The defendant admitted. Y'all see this? Defendant also admitted she had no proof, cannot possibly verify. So why even say it, Candace? Why say it? See? Now, if I say Candace Owens should be investigated by the feds for bringing forth false allegations of criminal activity against several individuals, of definitely disseminating medical information about a deceased individual without consent from his next kin, which would be his wife, and then obtained it illegally from a medical staff, then everybody would be mad. To which I still wouldn't give a damn. But right is right and wrong is wrong. She admitted she had no proof, cannot possibly verify, and could not confirm after she already admitted she is not an investigative journalist to a court of law. 4 years later, you're still not an investigative journalist, Candace. You're just not. You would think that you would take all this money you're making and go back to school, though. And you don't even want to do that. You just keep making babies. Because, George ain't stun your ass. He can't be, man. He don't even know what personality he's dealing with day by day. Oh, my God. You can't make this stuff up. Nevertheless, defendant continued to publish and republish as fact that Ms. Klacik engaged in criminal activity and that defendant's investigation supported these claims because there's no investigation and she's not an investigator. Fuck's sake. The criminal allegations, that defendant made against Ms. Klacik are false and defamatory. Defendant claims Ms. Klacik was madam of a Baltimore strip club. Ms. Klacik never was a madam. Defendant claims Ms. Klacik used campaign funds to do cocaine. Ms. Klacik never used campaign funds for any illegal activity, let alone for drug use. Defendant claims Ms. Klacik committed campaign fraud, tax fraud, and money laundering by making payments to sketchy businesses. Ms. Klacik never committed campaign fraud, tax fraud, or money laundering. Camp Klacik for Congress, the campaign, is a legal entity for which Ms. Klacik never even had access to its bank account. Ms. Klacik did not make any payments on behalf of the campaign to any individual or business entity. The only person with access to the campaign's bank account during the campaign was the campaign's treasurer, as it should be. Oh, Lord have mercy. So, when you set up these types of accounts related to a campaign, part of that law is that you should not want to have access to those funds because that's how easy it is for someone to accuse you of misappropriating those funds. Does it make sense? So you assign someone as your treasurer. And then at the end of the campaign, what happens with the money is it could be, give it to some sort of a charity organization, or you have to outline what it's going to be used for in the event you do not use all the money for the campaign at the end of the campaign. That's part of it. So when you do a campaign, the first thing you start off with is a D1. That's a statement of organization. So you have to kind of identify this campaign itself. And that D1 typically will list who the treasurer is, who all of the big wiz. The president, you got a campaign, what do you call it? A campaign organizer, you got a treasurer for the funds. You got all these people designated that are going to serve different roles, and then their roles and responsibilities are listed on that D1. And then, of course, you have to submit within, I think, is it 30 or 60 days? You got to submit. No, they give you 90 days. 90 days to submit your expenses. So for contributions and expenses, you have to bring forth all of those expense reports. They have to be uploaded and posted to whatever state you're in. So for the state of Baltimore, it will be posted up to the state's elections website. So for the state of Baltimore's elections division website, all of that information would be there. And you have to submit it, or you could be fined. You could be subjected to fines and penalties. So when she said that this stuff she accessed, she named the actual documents. She said all this stuff is available to the public because it is. It's not a secret. So when you're accusing someone of misusing campaign funds, you going on that website and pulling up information that is available to the public is not sufficient evidence to show that she's misusing the funds. Because even if someone is doing that, they wouldn't be stupid enough to put it on those documents that is available to the public. This is how dumb Candace Owens is. You got to go beyond that. And she doesn't have the power to go beyond that because she's not an investigative journalist. She's not even a journalist. She's definitely not an investigator. She does not have subpoena power. And it's crazy that you're going to insinuate somebody having committed crimes violating federal laws with no evidence. It said you could not possibly verify it. You would not be able to verify it. You can't make this up. Cannot possibly verify. Jesus. Y'all see now this pattern of behavior? And she didn't care about how it affected her. Oh, Lord. Payments to the treasurer made by and for the campaign were permissible campaign expenditures pursuant to the terms of legally binding contracts and obligations. Because you do. You have those contracts established with your sponsors or donors as to what those funds could be used for. And you have to show proof that you're using the funds based on whatever the contract is you have set up with whatever the sponsor is. And I'm just giving a simplified definition overview of it because it's more complicated than that. But yes, that's how that goes. And you have to have receipts and vendor invoices and all types of things to go along with the expense reports. Ms. Klacik repeatedly denied the criminal allegations on Ms. Klacik's social media accounts and on television appearances. On June 23, 21, Ms. Klacik released a statement on Twitter regarding the criminal allegations, stating that defendants' allegations were offensive, false, and defamatory. Ms. Klacik subsequently posted an additional statement on Twitter on June 24, 21, stating that defendant falsely accused Ms. Klacik, private citizens, and businesses of federal crimes, Exhibits 2 and 3. Ms. Klacik also appeared on the Armstrong Williams show on June 25, 21, where Ms. Klacik denied the criminal allegations. Ms. Klacik later posted a video to her personal YouTube account, further denying the criminal allegations. The response video. A true and accurate transcript of the Armstrong Williams interview and the response video is attached as Exhibit 4. On June 24, 21, counsel for Ms. Klacik sent a cease and desist letter to defendant, notifying defendant that the criminal allegations were false and defamatory and requesting that defendant immediately remove the video from her social media platforms. The cease and desist letter is Exhibit 5. Later that day, defendant responded to counsel for Ms. Klacik via electronic mail, stating that nothing defendant said in her video constitute defamation of character. All facts she made are backed by truth. No evidence, though, that she already admitted could not possibly be verified. Ugh. So backed by some truth in her mind in an alternate reality, I guess. Oh my God. All facts. What facts? Facts are backed by evidence. Not some truth that you made up. Because that's not truth. That's your opinion. Oh my God. And that defendant had every right under the law to inquire about campaign finances. She isn't inquiring about anything. She's making allegations about criminal activity. That's not an inquiry. You know, we all know that Candace Owens doesn't understand the definition of the word inquiry. So no. On June 25th, 21, in response to defendant's email, counsel for Ms. Klacik sent an additional letter to defendant and defendant's attorney reiterating that the criminal allegations were false and that all legal options would be explored in the event the video is not removed from social media platforms. Attorney demand. This is where you get to the cease and desist letter. Your attorney can submit over demanding that you cease and desist, activities such as harassment, bullying, defamation, those types of things. And typically where you would outline how the statements are false. So more of a debunking session. Based on this date, the time you stated this, there's no evidence to prove that. You stated you could not possibly verify it. And here's the evidence to disprove what you said about this or that. So let's say if part of that lie was including, saying that she hypothetically had an estranged husband. But what if Ms. Klacik was still married? Then she would be able to show proof. Ms. Klacik is still married. You said estranged husband. And then everything else you said you cannot possibly verify. There's no evidence to prove. And they're false. So that would be the moment you could take in a cease and desist letter to try to point out those lies and to try to correct the record. And that's what the Macrons did. when they sent the cease and desist letter or demand letter, they also sent information to debunk what Candace had been saying that was provably false. So like the birth certificate or the announcement, the birth announcement. I'm sorry, not birth certificate. It was a birth announcement. And then, of course, it was some photos, a wedding photo, all these things. Candace just denied the document. She just didn't want to accept it. No one cares about whether she wants to accept it or not. It's the fact that it was sent, and she acknowledged them in her videos that she received them. So she confirmed receipt of it and acknowledged the information. She just doesn't want to believe it. The jury won't give two shits about that, Candace, and you know it. They won't care. Because if the court allows those documents, those exhibits to be admitted as evidence, and it is admitted as evidence through the testimony of either Brigitte Macron or Emmanuel Macron himself, then it will be admitted as evidence. And your attorneys cannot just object to evidence being admitted. It would have to be deemed irrelevant. And showing photos that you've requested would not be irrelevant to the case. You requested it. You see how stupid Candace is right now? This is how crazy this is. So defendant responded to the attorney demand, stating, I will not be removing any of the videos. I already told you that because she's disgusting. And defendant concluded her email reply stating, let me reiterate, I will not removing any of the videos. I will not be removing any of the videos, Candace. You forgot a word. Oh, God. As of filing this complaint, defendant has refused to remove the video from her social media accounts. Defendant has also has not published Ms. Klacik's multiple denials because, of course, she doesn't. So when they say this reckless disregard for the truth, yeah, you've been sent the rebuttal and the denials, and of course, she's not going to publish that. And I wouldn't even expect it to, really. I would publish it. And I make sure I publish it every time she puts something out. But see, that's how Candace is. Let me reiterate lies until my candy-ass cult member followers accepts it to be true because I've said it so many times, not because I produced any evidence to support it when she stated herself she could not possibly verify. She already said that. So, defendant has also has not published Ms. Klacik multiple denials to defendant's social media followers, despite stating, and by the way, if anything has been debunked, if she's like going to come out and be like, oh no, I know I gave to this business that doesn't really exist. But wait a minute. Candace, why can't you just talk like you have some sense? This is defendant saying this. Candace said, and by the way, if anything has been debunked, if she's like going to come out and be like, oh no, I know I gave to this business that doesn't really exist, but this is why. I will add that because I'm not trying to, paint her in the wrong light. And she lied about all this right here. This is a whole lie. Candace, you lied like hell. You already said you had no way of even verifying the allegations to be true. So why would you even sit here and try to make it seem like you're not trying to paint her in the wrong light? You never published her denials. You never published her debunking you. Same thing with the Macrons. You just don't want to accept it. You lying ass coward. And then you send your candy asses to cyber harass people like the FBI can't investigate them simps online. You're out of your mind, girl. This is how she talks. Y'all see this? Doesn't really exist, but this is why I will add that because I'm not trying to, pay. Oh my God. Despite defendant's knowledge of the falsity and the defamatory nature of her claims and disingenuous claim not to paint Ms. Klacik in the wrong light, defendant continues to perpetuate the false and defamatory statements that defendant concocted and published. When defendant countless supporters harass Ms. Klacik or repeat the false and defamatory statements on social media, Ms. Owens validates and acknowledges the false and defamatory statements by liking the derogatory behavior. Just like Candace Owens refuses to denounce Nicholas Ray, who sent death threats online to 3 to 4 Jewish conservatives because she doesn't care if they're catching online death threats now. That is how depraved Candace Owens is. So, of course, she likes it, just like she likes a post where Jewish rabbis are being accused of drinking the blood of Christians. It's disgusting. It's just a disgusting thing to like. Candace, you have no soul. You evil entity from hell. You like this fact. You like people being tortured and bullied. And then you got the audacity to claim that you were bullied in high school. Since you were a kid, I'm not going to go too hard on that. But it's mighty funny how you dish out what you claim was done to you before you hit 18 years old. And now you dish it out double time and not care about people catching online death threats. You're out of your mind, girl. So no, I don't have a reason to care about anything about how she feels now. Why should I? The commonality of defendant attacking public figures does not justify defamation. Defendant appears to take pride in having built her public persona, in part by attacking and disparaging such celebrities and public figures as musician and actor Harry Styles, rapper Cardi B, tennis player Naomi Osaka, and entertainment personality Chrissy Teigen. By way of a specific example, while much of the world was expressing sympathy and understanding for Naomi Osaka for withdrawing from the French Open due to mental health concerns, defendant berated Miss Osaka on Twitter by stating, "She's starting to get so annoying. Just quit tennis and become a full-time activist. You make millions and are now complaining again because you think you're a special snowflake that shouldn't have to do press conferences because they are a form of mental abuse." Who says this shit? Candace Owens. Candace, why did you even take time out your day to even say this? Why did you talk about it? You give your base red meat because they're like demons. Just raw red meat for them to go off of and just be entertained. No consideration or empathy for anything. You want people to feel sorry about you? No, we don't. Candace Owens, we don't feel sorry for you. Not at all. Not even a little bit. You want to walk around and cry victim now that you're being sued, talking about they're trying to bankrupt me. I hope they do. I hope they take you for every fucking penny you think you're worth, girl. Defendant continued her unnecessary harassment. Change doesn't make people uncomfortable. Annoying, overprivileged multimillionaires who don't even touch their own door handles, crying about how hard their lives are, that makes people uncomfortable. You have now become insufferable. Just quit the sport. Oh, it's mighty funny. Mighty funny how Candace is now running around talking about they're trying to bankrupt me. Oh, I had to take my kids out this school and homeschool them, knowing damn well she's not doing that. She's got nannies. She can hire teachers and tutors to come in here. Tutors to come in and teach her kids. Oh, because rich people problems. Candace, now you've become that overprivileged multimillionaire who doesn't even touch your own door handle, crying about how you think someone is trying to bankrupt you. See how the tables have turned? Candace Owens. This is why I love these lawsuits. So much juicy detail in this. Now Candace has become that insufferable multimillionaire. Oh, yes, you are, girl. You're valued over what? $5 million alone, $220 million with George Farmer. Yeah, you make everyone uncomfortable. You are insufferable. Just quit lying about being an investigative journalist. The defendant's false and defamatory statements against Ms. Klacik have caused significant and ongoing harm to Ms. Klacik's professional and personal reputation. The defendant's allegations have not only been republished in national media outlets such as Newsweek, but also throughout social media outlets by individuals intending to damage Ms. Klacik, Politicians have canceled fundraising appearances with Ms. Klacik as a result of defendants' allegations, even though they never went out and tried to vet the stuff themselves. Exhibit 11 provides a specific example of such cancellation. Even a simple review of the comments on Ms. Klacik's social media platforms provides a clear picture of the reputational harm defendants' defamatory statements have caused Ms. Klacik. Ms. Klacik and her family are harassed via social media, telephone, and in person on a daily basis, which I can believe because the candy asses have no boundaries whatsoever, and they don't care about the many cyber crimes that they're committing. And when you're doing this stuff online, because Candace Owens won't tell you all this, but I will, you're leaving digital footprints that the FBI could easily track and follow back to you. But because you guys are not smart enough to stop, then your dumbasses should get caught. The end. You can't make this stuff up. Regarding the defendant's video. So she's being harassed regarding Candace's video because reasons. It's like they're brain dead. Attached as Exhibit 12 is one of many examples of such behavior. Ms. Klacik also has lost significant professional opportunities because of the criminal allegations made in the video. Ms. Klacik lost a book deal, had a contract canceled with a nationally recognized vendor, and lost thousands of dollars in potential donations to Red Renaissance, an organization for which she serves as president. Attached as Exhibits 13 and 14 are two examples of lost financial opportunities as a direct result of defendant's tortious conduct. Count one. Here we go, y'all. Defamation. Paragraphs 1 through 40 are incorporated by reference as if fully stated herein, defendant has intentionally, knowingly, and or recklessly published and disseminated false and defamatory statements to third parties of and concerning Ms. Klacik that have caused and continue to cause substantial injury to Ms. Klacik's reputation and business, among other things. Defendant's false and defamatory statements and the implications drawn from defendant's statements of and concerning Ms. Klacik are defamatory because they falsely accuse Ms. Klacik of criminal activity, injure Ms. Klacik in her personal professional capacity, and cause third parties to think less of Ms. Klacik. I mean, she's losing book deals and appearances. Yeah. That's the direct result of it. Defendant made these false and defamatory statements about Ms. Klacik with knowledge of their falsity and or reckless disregard as to their truth or falsity. She stated herself she would not be able to prove. She would not be able to prove them. Let me just go back to it. I want to read this. I want y'all to see this. She already admits, Candace Owens admits, she's not an investigative journalist. The allegations she made were talking about a federal crime. She had no proof, cannot possibly verify, and could not confirm information she presented as fact. That right there is all you need to know. That's Candace Owens on auto repeat. Claiming to be an investigative journalist, somehow want to decentralize the CIA, which is laughable to me. The CIA could easily sue her for misuse of their logo or likeness thereof without their consent, and she's making money from it. Because Candace Owens doesn't know laws. She doesn't understand that part of that law means you are using the likeness and image or the likeness of the image without consent in an effort to make money. And you got it all over cups and t-shirts and hats. So you're making money using some likeness or image of the CIA logo without their consent. They can sue you for it. That is a violation of federal law. But she doesn't care, and the CIA needs to do something. What the hell Candy ass is going to do? Get mad? And who told Candace Owens to break the law? No one. She does that dumb shit on her own. This is Candace Owens in a nutshell on auto repeat. In every case, in every scenario. Where she wants to purport herself to be an investigative journalist. What she is a public figure. But then if she tries to decry defamation, guess what? Candace, you would have to prove malice intent because you are a public figure. So that's just one added notch to the belt of what you would have to prove to meet your burden. because you don't understand how court works, of course you won't be able to do that. You can't make this up. Let's go back down. We're almost done, y'all. We're almost done. Thank you so much for tuning in. Y'all hit the like button. We know we got the candy asses flowing in and out. They're gonna do that. It is what it is. So I don't care. Let's see here. I want to make sure. Where am I? All right, here we go. Defendant made these false and defamatory statements with actual malice and with the intent of harming Miss Klacik. All because Miss Klacik responded to a Twitter message post, whatever, about Juneteenth and Candace Owens not understanding the significance of it, because Candace Owens obviously hates being black. That's my opinion. That's how I feel. Candace, you hate being black. You don't show anything where you're proud of being black at all. And the only time you even talk about low income anything is when you're bitching and crying about student loans that you claim you've paid off. And you're not saying it in terms of trying to help others avoid predatory loans, because you're not doing anything. You haven't set up a scholarship to help kids go to school. Candace Owens doesn't even give out gift cards or prizes or anything to her own 5 million base that worship the ground she walks on like she's God. She doesn't even give them anything back in return. What does she do? Like free prizes, and you guys can, put your number in the hat, or put a number in the hat or something like that. Enter this weekly something and you'll win a free cup and t-shirt, hat set. Nothing. She gives back nothing to her audience. And she has the money to do it. When I get to that point, I will do that. That goes without saying, because you want to always show appreciation for your supporters. You got over 5.5 million subs over there, Candace, and you don't even do anything to give back to your supporters. You're the worst, girl. Oh, my good Lord. Defendants' false and defamatory statements have caused substantial injury to Ms. Klacik's reputation, business relationships, and other interests. Defendants' false and defamatory statements have caused Ms. Klacik and the organization for which she serves as president, Red Renaissance, Inc., to sustain damages of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Defendants' actions against Ms. Klacik were willful, wanton, and malicious, and defendant intended her actions to deliberately harm Ms. Klacik. I mean, she refused to take down videos and posts, then said she wasn't going to do it, and then lied about saying, I will post up any debunking she does because I don't want to paint her in the wrong light, while she still refused to do any of that. So she even lied about that. Everything was done in bad faith. Wherefore, Ms. Klacik respectfully prays that this honorable court award Ms. Klacik compensatory damages in an amount to be determined at trial, but in no event less than $20 million, together with punitive damages, interest, costs, reasonable attorney's fees, and other expenses. Award such other and further relief as is deemed just and proper. Dated the 17th day of September 2021. Respectfully, Dickinson Wright, LLC. Y'all. Now, the only critique I have about this is the amount. It automatically raises red flags, right? When you're saying defamation, even though the defamation was great, and who knows, maybe the loss of wages, the loss of the appearances, the loss of the book deal, and other contracts that she could have been guaranteed or was on the verge of obtaining could have amounted up to a couple $1 million, even a few million. But you would have to prove $20 million in damages. You have to prove that all of that came to $20 million. So the amount based on the allegation is only one count of defamation. Malice intent has to be a separate count. And it wasn't here. And for it to be 20 million, the judge probably looked at this and was like, wait, what? Based on just one count of defamation. Now, I'm not saying the damages weren't great, because I believe they were. But the court would ask, is the damages that you experienced, the losses that you're alleging between the campaign and Red Renaissance Inc. and even yourself, does that come up to $20 million? And then you would have to prove that. So I would have started out with maybe 5 mil. I think that would have been like reasonable as a starting point. Because see, here's the thing: compensatory damages in an amount to be determined at trial. You already had a jury trial demand, but in the event, no less than 5 million. That's a reasonable start. And then, based on what you are able to prove for damages at trial, then the judge will add up, calculate from there, and then the jury will determine whether you are, to be granted or awarded that amount. If not, they will in turn ask of the court, the judge, to, okay, can you make sure that all of the lost book deals, everything that she was supposed to receive, is there evidence of it? Was there some sort of contracts drawn where she was guaranteed or promised X amount of dollars? They would have added it up, and then they would have, as a part of their verdict, gave an amount of what she should be awarded. I would have let them do that. That way, they would not have, the defendant would not have the defense of saying, oh, this is a slap suit, because that's exactly what Candace did. Of course, she filed a motion to dismiss because she never wants to go through court, because she doesn't think laws apply to her. So since this is 180 pages, we're going to go to Chat GPT. Yes. So here it is. I'm going to just go over what's summarized for her motion to dismiss, because there's no way in hell I'm going over 180 pages. I want to thank you all for tuning in. We're going into 2 hours. 120 of you watching. Can y'all make sure you hit that like button, engage in the chat? Yes, the candy asses are, coming in and out. They'll be fine. I appreciate all of you all for sure. And I knew this was going to be a lengthy video, because we're going over this information. We do have a $25 goal for the live stream, for the expenses of the channel, the StreamYard and Xfinity, the light bill. I'm going to order the desk soon. I just haven't had time to do it, but we're going to get the desk ordered and get that posted up so you all can see your contributions at work. Let's see here. Let's get some comments in right quick, just to see you guys still here with me. I'm still laughing about Candace claiming that people who were criticizing her were being paid. Oh, God. It's not hard to do a giveaway. You pick a random subscriber once a month and send them a cup and a t-shirt. Exactly. She could do it once a week. She literally could. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do a giveaway once a week to 5 people. She could give multiple items away to at least 5 people every week. Every one person per show. Every day she does a show. So if she does a show 5 days a week, then she can do a drawing and pick one person each day to give out a prize to. She acts like she's so selfish. She can't even do that for her own audience. And they don't demand it. They just keep giving her more money. They give her more of their bill money. But she gives them nothing in return. It's so crazy. Susie said, what's going on, Susie? Brandon Tatum has sold merch and has raised $500,000 for the Kirk family. Yeah, Candace has not given a dime to the Kirk family. Candace, why won't you let Erica Kirk on your show? Y'all know she hasn't done that? Candace Owens has not even let Erica Kirk on her show. That's what's so crazy about this. If you really are trying to look out for the Kirk family and his kids and wife, why don't you let, how about this? Why don't you let Erica Kirk and the children on your show and do like a play date where they can play with your kids? And then you and her can sit down. You guys can have a conversation, woman to woman, mother to mother, while the kids are playing and stuff like that. Why you can't do that, Candace? See, there's so many ways to do this where she can feel comfortable. She has a bodyguards there because who knows what the hell you trying to do deep down. Why is that so hard to do, Candace? It's so crazy. Candace gave him a mug and t-shirt. Oh, Lord. Phoenix. Okay, that was mean. She is suffering from postpartum psychosis and we need to pray for her. It is very sad to watch. No, it's not. Let me tell you something. There's nothing more mean than saying that your daddy, and this is from Charlie Kirk had 2 kids with Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk said flat out, she has to explain to her kids every time they ask, why isn't daddy coming home? She has to tell them this. And yet you got Candace Owens out here doing videos saying, Charlie Kirk came to me in a vision. How do you think that the kids will translate that if they were to watch something and hear something like that? He wants me to avenge him. And then she goes and attacks the entire company of Turning Point USA, to which Erica Kirk is the CEO of. What was mean was Candace Owens reacting to that interview and then saying, well, see here, you got to draw the line between being a widow versus a CEO. That's cold as hell. That's cold and callous. It's soulless. It's mean-spirited. And then for her to say that a dead person is visiting her and her vision is demonic. The fact that Candace Owens refuses to denounce the actions of Nicholas Ray, issuing out death threats. How's that not mean? They got families too. Did she lose the lawsuit? Candace didn't win. They did a joint stipulation. That's why I don't understand why she keeps lying about it. Billy said Candace is a narcissist, which means she thinks everyone owes her, not the other way around. Exactly. Yuck said, same here. I stopped watching around the time she did the Blake Lively stuff. She's just going after people, and whomever responds to her and bite back is who she preys on. And Kimberly Klacik said, I'm not here to get paid off of. I don't want you getting paid off of doing an interview with me. And I don't want it edited. I want it to be live streamed so that people can see in real time the conversation, the dialogue, the responses, body language, everything in between. Nothing needs to be edited or scripted. Candace Owens can't help herself. Everything is fake in her life. That's why she wants someone to come in and do an interview with her so she can edit it and twist out the whole interview and then put out the portions that make the other person look bad. Candace, show proof of your 2 degrees. Post up that so-called gag order you said you were going to violate, since you think you're above the rule of law. Why don't you do that? Why don't you denounce the actions of Nicholas Ray? Let's see how that goes. There are a lot of things that Candace Owens could be proving right now with evidence, but she refuses to do it because she would rather just lie for no reason. Just stupid lies. Oh my God. What's going on, Turkish? She's just a narcissist. Exactly. Let's see. TN Girl. Not sure who said it, but I also checked the numbers, and Candace Owens is not in the top 10 podcasts on Apple or Spotify. Oh yeah, we looked it up too. We all said she is not number 1 in the world, and she keeps saying that. I'm number 1 in the world. No, you're not. That means you would have to surpass Joe Rogan, and you have not done that, girl. He would have said something. If Candace Owens would have passed Joe Rogan, he would have said something on his show about it. But I mean, it's stuff that could be Googled, and she won't even do it. Phoenix Rising says psychosis doesn't mean she's not a narcissist, but she is a narcissist too. That's separate. I get what you're saying, but I think that's separate. Saint said her psychosis goes way back before she had kids. Yeah, so does her narcissism. Oh man, proud of Tatum. Okay, cool. We have no proof she has postpartum psychosis, and if she is, she needs to keep her butt off of her show. She needs to. I mean, the thing is, even when you claim to be having psychosis or postpartum, does it mean you have to be mean and mean-spirited? You have to sit out and allow people to be cyberbullied, cyber harassed, and cyber stalked and doxed people. How does that mean? How does that equate to you ignoring laws regarding you posting up and disseminating medical information of someone to whom you never obtained any consent from his spouse? Because he's deceased, he's still entitled to have some sort of privacy with his medical information that you received illegally. How does that mean you get to violate the law with utilizing the CIA logo to make money off of it? Psychosis doesn't mean that you completely don't read laws and understand it. She has, what, 3 or 4 attorneys at her disposal? She could easily ask them to help her understand the law on why you should not be utilizing the likeness or image of the CIA logo to make money. But she won't do that. It has nothing to do with her being able to actually understand information or to not lie about having 2 degrees and no proof of it. Or sitting here saying, I'm going to violate a gag order. What gag order? Post the gag order up, girl. Get your attorneys to email me your gag order. I'm ready to read it. But these are the things that has nothing to do with psychosis. Simple things. Like, I can't make excuses for her when it comes to stuff like that. I refuse to do it. You understand? I refuse to do it. I'm not going to allow her to blame her psychosis on her failing to read a law. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And when we go out and correct, I gave, 6 scriptures about gentle correction from the Bible. From the Bible on correcting those. This is as nice as I'm going to get. But Candace could easily stop lying. Follow the law. Trying to be a rebel, thinking that's going to get her notoriety. Candace, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose your soul? Because that's where you're headed. You're headed down the road of F around, find out with Jesus. You're trying to gain the whole world and a lot of money, and you've lost your soul and any level of empathy along the way. And now you're about to find out what that looks like. And she doesn't even care. So I'm not going to feel bad about putting her in her place. I'm reading court documents where she's already admitted she's not an investigative journalist and had no way to possibly verify her information. None. That's all I'm saying. These lawsuits, I've gone over the USA Today lawsuit, the one she filed against the apartment complex because she chose to not pay rent for 6 months and live with black mold she created, talking about it's giving me yeast infections. Now we're going over the one with Kimberly Klacik, and you all see this pattern of behavior. Candace Owens goes out, she lies, she cyber harasses, she cyber bullies, she doxes people, she's threatening them, she sends the candy asses after them. They commit all these cyber crimes. They don't think that anything is going to happen to them. Get mad at the thought of someone reporting them. And then turns around and goes to court. And it's opposed to her fighting it because allegedly she's supposed to have evidence. What does she do? She files a motion to dismiss. A motion to dismiss. That complaint was 12 pages. She came back. This is the agreed order. Hold on a second. With 180 pages of a memorandum supporting the motion to dismiss. 180 pages. You can't make this stuff up. No one told her to even do this. She started it. Candace Owens started it. And then you got people's text messages and stuff like that. You're trying to insinuate that she misappropriated funds. She got photos in here. I can't even show those photos because my video will get flagged. You're lying saying she committed crimes. I put the links in the I'll put the link in here. You guys can read it for yourself. Because I literally have nothing to hide on this. I'll let you all read it. And y'all can see all the exhibits that's attached to her motion to dismiss. It's photos down there. It's posts. Y'all can see here. Posts going back and forth. I'll be honest. I'm a fan of both of you. You got fans in here saying, I don't know how this started. I'm a fan of both of you, but I didn't understand where the conflict arose. What did she have to gain by claiming you stole money? She just started making the accusation. She had nothing to gain but supporters, more views. It's called views, my boy. Dave Kapoor, it's called views. It's sensationalism. She gets views off of sensationalism. Candace Owens is nothing more than a gossip columnist who lies about having 2 degrees that she has yet to prove. And yet she has admitted in court documents she's not an investigative journalist. And she still isn't to this very day. She's not obtained any education or degrees or certification or licensure to be considered that. She's still gossiping about things. So she started it by getting mad that Klacik responded to a tweet. Because Candace doesn't understand how Juneteenth works. The end. It's that simple. But that's the same. You can't say something to Candace Owens without her coming back with lies about dumb things and saying, oh, well, you're stealing money and you're a madam and blah, blah, blah. What do you mean? Now you're saying I'm violating finance campaign laws? Get the out of here. All of that. And this is where we are. People not even understanding how it started. I'm not discounting it. Happened, just trying to get it. Yeah, well, she got views from it. And those views equates to money. But yet, Candace had the audacity to sue USA Today talking about, oh, they're putting out an article about me and it's costing me money. My, how the pages turn when Candace Owens gets an article put out about her from another news media outlet. And then she wanted to decry the same thing. And guess what? Candace lost that case against USA Today. She lost. She failed to state a claim. She's failed to prove malice. She lost. That's the gist of it. And we've gone on over that one. So you guys can check out my video on the lawsuit we went over with USA Today. But in the meantime, let's go over what she tried to say in her motion to dismiss, the summary here. So here's a summary of the key arguments in the memorandum filed by Candace Owens in support of her motion to dismiss and her petition under the Tennessee Public Participation Act, TPPA, in the defamation suit brought by Kimberly Klacik. Here's the case number 21C, as in cat, 1607 in Davidson County, Tennessee. The memorandum runs through several major legal bases for dismissal. Public figure standard, actual malice. Owens' memorandum emphasizes that Klacik's public figure, having run for U.S. Congress, thus must prove actual malice, that Owens knew the statements were false or acted with reckless disregard. But she said it. She admitted it. She had no possible way to verify the information. She didn't have any proof to support it. She knew that. And she never published her rebuttals or denials, even though she said she would. It argues that Klacik's complaint fails to present admissible evidence of actual malice, relying instead on belief or speculation. The absence of the evidence itself is all that Klacik really needed to prove. If you're claiming that this is false and there's no evidence to prove it, the absence of the evidence helps you meet that burden. It would be on Candace Owens to show evidence that is true. Kimberly Klacik's burden to meet was there is no evidence to prove any of these things. And Candace Owens admitted that it would not be possible to verify her allegations to be true. What more do you need? So that's not a belief or speculation. She had no evidence. Owens' side also contends that she introduced uncontested admissible evidence negating actual malice. She contacted Klacik for comment. She had sources she relied on. See, actual malice, but not the allegations of the criminal activity. That's not proving malice by saying, hey, I reached out to you to do an interview. She said, I'm not going to do an interview unless you can do a live stream and it cannot be monetized. You're not making money off of my interview. That's all she was saying. Meaning that Klacik cannot meet the required standard. But yet, never mind all of the statements that Klacik sent, including the cease and desist letter from the attorney, where they did state that the statements that Candace was making were false. And she had no evidence. And she already stated that she could not possibly verify those allegations to be true. She received a cease and desist letter. So you asking for an interview is irrelevant. The cease and desist letter debunked a lot of the things you said. And you didn't accept it. Same thing with the Macrons. They sent letters, they sent photos, they've sent information, they've answered questions. They're not going to do a in-person interview with her because they don't owe her that. But they have debunked all of her stuff. They sent her information. She just doesn't want to accept it. And plus, she asked for the blood of the first lady. You're not getting it, girl. Anti-SLAPP TPPA defense. Now, here's where it gets interesting regarding the defense. Claiming that it is a SLAPP suit. You're saying this person is filing this lawsuit for an insurmountable amount of money just to shut me up, right? 20 million was steep in my mind for that one count of defamation. However, if she would have started at like 5 million, it would have been harder to prove SLAPP. They'd be like, no, this is normal based on the evidence that we have to show she lost book deals and contracts and appearances and all these things where she was guaranteed all of this money. Here are the contracts, here are the evidence to prove, and this is what it adds up to be. That would have been a lot easier to do. And I wish she would have done that. But otherwise, Candace Owens already admitted she had no way to verify any of her allegations that she was making against Klacik, which were criminal allegations. You're not a prosecutor. So to even go that far with no evidence, I don't care about her claiming to have postpartum. I've seen women with postpartum, and it's never made them just go out and falsely accuse someone of committing heinous criminal acts, doing drugs, being a madam. What the hell? That's not psychosis. That you can be psychosis, but that's not that. Don't blame that on the baby. Don't blame that on I gave birth. It's not my fault. My hormones. No. You're just evil and you're just a liar. Candace, where's the proof for the 2 degrees? Ugh. Anti-SLAPP TPPA defense. The memorandum invokes Tennessee's Public Participation Act, TPPA, which allows the defendant who shows the plaintiff's claim is based on the exercise of the right of free speech to petition for dismissal. Owens argues she made a prima facie showing that her Instagram publication was protected speech, so the burden shifts to Klacik to establish her prima facie case for each element of the claim. The memorandum points out that Klacik did not seek or show proper discovery under Statute 2017-104D as in dog of TPPA, which allows specified and limited discovery upon good cause and thus cannot justify further discovery to overcome Owens' petition. Owens would have had to show evidence on her allegations. The allegations did not have any documentation to substantiate it. So other than saying there's no evidence to prove these allegations are true, then the way you go about saying that these are false is by the lack of the evidence. There's nothing to show that they're true. I can show you what I have as far as how we've been managing the books and posting up expenses for the campaign and all these things that are also available to the public. But she's alleging that I'm stealing money. Well, I'm not stealing money. Here are the transactions. That's evidence in and of itself. She wants me to send her evidence that she can pull up online that's available to the public of how I'm not stealing money. It would be the same. The discovery would be the same as what's available to the public. So what is there to show you when here's the website to the expense reports under the Baltimore State of Elections website, where you can pull all of the finance campaign expenses and contributions received for yourself. This stuff, I mean, there's nothing outside of this to give her. Just because she's lying about this stuff doesn't mean that I'm mandated to show evidence that would support her lie more than it would support the fact that she's lying itself. So she wants to say I'm lying and that I'm stealing money. Where's her proof to show I'm stealing money? Because I'm showing you, here are all the contributions and expenses. Here are the receipts. Here are the invoices. Everything has calculated, balanced, and reconciled. The numbers match. The balances match. It went from this account to this expense. You can follow the trail. You can follow the money. Where in that did I steal money? That would be for her to prove that. I'm proving that I didn't do it. That's my burden, to prove I did not steal the money. Because I'm alleging she's lying. So I'm not here to support her nonsense. That's your burden. My burden is to prove my claim. My claim that she is defaming me by lying on me, and there's no proof or evidence to prove that I'm stealing any money. And all my exhibits would be doing is showing that the money is being spent the right way. Does that make sense? That's how it works in court. You can't make this stuff up. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, the candy asses come up in here, boy, they get mad. She doesn't play stupid. She is stupid. Exactly. Black mole live forever. Black life mole matters. Oh my God, y'all. When I'm on these other pages, I can't see the comments. I have to come over here and just switch over and see how you guys doing. All right, y'all. So I just wanted to hammer in the burden of proof for the petitioner versus the defendant. The petitioner's not there to help the defendant's case. If you're alleging I stole something and you're saying that I misappropriated funds and transferred money from one account to another, which is essentially what money laundering is. I'm money laundering money from one account that I should not have access to. I don't have the right to access that money to an account to which I'm going to use this money against the purposes of the intent for what it's used for, right? Which is a violation of federal law. And then I prove that I have not done that, then that is my burden of proof met. Here's the accounts. Here are the transfers. Not one time has money left this account and went to my account. So what is she talking about? I'm not here to help her case. I'm here to prove mine. Bottom line. So, you know, here, if she wanted this documentation, she got it. It's online. It's available to the public. What more do I need to give her? That would have been my question. Lack of falsity, reliable source context. Owens contends that the statements at issue were either substantially true or she had a reasonable basis for her publication, i.e. reliable sources, investigation, which she's not, attempts to contact Klacik, which she said she was not going to take an interview if you're not going to allow it to be live streamed. And she definitely did not want it to be monetized. So, and I think she said, I don't want to go to her studio, but she can come to mine. The end. If you want to interview, you're going to go wherever, right? Why do you force someone into your space if you want to interview them? No, you want to interview them. So if they say, I'm not coming to your studio, but you come to my studio, it's going to be live streamed. It will not be monetized. And you can ask me all the questions you want. And then Candace Owens is like, no. Okay, well, then you kick rocks. Anybody who's going to go beyond that? No one. No. Not going to take me out my comfort, sit here to try to antagonize me, and then you want to earn money off of this. Hell no. The memorandum argues that the complaint cherry picks portions of her remarks, strips them of context, and repackages them as criminal allegations, whereas she had set forth her reasoning and sources in full. Failure to state a claim, no sufficient evidence. The memorandum asserts that Klacik's complaint does not provide sufficient admissible evidence at the TPPA petition stage to establish each essential element of defamation, including falsity and actual malice. Given Owens' showing and Klacik's lack of responsive evidence, Owens argues that claim must be dismissed under Statute 20-17-105B as in boy of the TPPA. Discovery and procedural posture. A procedural point made. Klacik did not timely move for limited discovery under the TPPA statute before the petition hearing, so she cannot rely on discovery to build her case against the petition. Owens sought interlocutory review via her Rule 9 application of the questions: what quantum of evidence a public figure must present at the TPPA stage to establish actual malice, and 2, what the standards are for allowing discovery under statute 20-17-104D. All right, bottom line, Owens' motion/memo argues that Klacik's suit should be dismissed because the speech is protected, giving Owens the right to petition under TPPA. She thinks that everything she says is protected free speech, and she's about to find out the crime. Nah, there's a limitation to that. Of course there is. You can't just go out and make a death threat to someone and say that's free speech. That's not how that works, Candace. You understand that? You can't just literally lie on someone and say it's free speech. That's not how that works. Owens met her burden, so Klacik must establish a prima facie defamation claim, including actual malice, and failed to do so. The complaint lacks credible evidence of actual malice or falsity, or at least sufficient for a public figure standard. Klacik did not properly pursue limited discovery to try to build the evidence she needs under the statute. Procedurally, the court should therefore grant Owens' petition, and dismissal is appropriate. So that was the summary of her defense. Let's go to the outcome, because we're all waiting on that. And here we go. Agreed final order. There was, like I said, I can drop the link for the petition. I've already sent the link for Candace Owens' memorandum on her motion to dismiss. And here is the outcome here. Okay. When you say you've won, that means that the jury was able to give a verdict in your favor. What I'm seeing here is an agreed final order. Case number 21C is in Cat 1607. Or C is in Candace. Or Candy ass. All right, whatever. Come now, the parties to this action, plaintiff Kimberly Klacik and defendant Candace Owens, and jointly submit this agreed final order for the court's approval. As evidenced by the signatures of adversary counsel below, the parties have agreed to entry of the conclusive relief set below. The parties have agreed to entry of the conclusive relief. Heart stop. At some point, they contacted each other, the attorneys. They came to some sort of settlement or resolution, and they agreed to the outcome of it. This was not rendered from a jury. This is not rendered from some trial or anything. This is what they agreed upon mutually. So Candace did not win. She agreed to this. Whether she thought that she could get more in her judgment or not, or in what she was granted, she agreed to the stipulation. So what did she win? It didn't even go through the full legal process. She filed a motion to dismiss, and they had an agreed final order. And I'm making sure that I didn't leave anything out, because I want to be thorough in this stuff. Because like Pierre said, there's a difference in your opinion and presenting the facts. Okay? So I want to make sure I got everything covered in this. We went over the complaint. We went over, the outcome is that it was dismissed with prejudice in December 2022. We went over the summary. I sent you all the link to Candace Owens' memorandum to support her motion to dismiss in fairness. I gave my thoughts on it. Let's see. We all saw what Candace stated and admitted she is not an investigative journalist. I mean, she's telling her herself. So why should anyone take us seriously at this point? I don't know. This is 4 years ago, people. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. You all let me know if I am. Okay? Let me know if I'm missing something. So this started on June 22nd, 2021. It was filed. And then the resolution was done December of 2022. So a little over a year, right? Trying to make sure that there were no hearings or anything that I'm missing, because I'm not seeing it. Yeah. I'm not seeing any hearings that were conducted or anything like that. If I'm missing something, I'm sure the candy asses will tell me that. But let me know, because I want to give everything in its entirety so that you all can see at the end of the day, that was not a win. When you agreed on a stipulation, this jury trial demanded, didn't get to render a verdict on anything. I don't see where a hearing was conducted or anything for a jury to hear the evidence, or to deliberate and to give a ruling, to give a verdict. You're agreeing with the other party to a resolution. It's not a win for you. It's not a win at all. Jesus Christ. So here's what was agreed upon. Accordingly, having reviewed the parties' agreement and the entire record, the court finds and orders the parties stipulate, because that's the word of the day, Candace, stipulate that the defendant's Tennessee Code Statute 20-17-104A petition to dismiss plaintiff's complaint pursuant to the Tennessee Public Participation Act, docket 8, should be and is hereby granted. Accordingly, the plaintiff's complaint and all causes of action asserted within shall be and hereby dismissed with prejudice. Upon entry of this order, judgment shall enter in favor of the defendant against the plaintiff in the amount of $115,000, inclusive of all claims for attorney's fees and discretionary costs pursuant to Tennessee Code Statute 20-17-107A. The defendant agrees not to execute on this judgment, provided that plaintiff pays $75,000 to defendant within 60 days of entry of this order, and plaintiff pays to defendant the balance of the judgment in full within 6 months of the entry of order. So she had 60 days to pay $75,000, 6 months to pay the other $75,000. The defendant claims for sanctions shall be withdrawn and are accordingly denied as moot. So they had filed a motion for sanctions as well, and they decided to withdraw the claim for sanctions. And so the motion itself was denied as a moot point because it's irrelevant. Moot being irrelevant makes, no relevancy at all. This constitutes a final and conclusive resolution. This constitutes a final and conclusive resolution of the above captioned case. The clerk shall enter judgment pursuant to Tennessee Rules of Civil Procedure 58. Upon entry of this order, all outstanding matters shall be denied as moot. The plaintiff shall pay the court cost of this action, for which execution may issue if necessary. It is so ordered. Judge C. David Riley, Circuit Court Judge. And here you go. And this was all e-filed back on December 7th, 22. So, there you go. Final order down here. And it was signed. So, where did she win? She stipulated to this. Like I said, if I'm missing a hearing or something, let me know. Let's get to some comments, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. We're almost 3 hours. Oh, disrespect will not be tolerated. Oh, man. The candy asses, y'all acting up. What's going on? You and down. Why y'all coming in here with these weird names here? It'll sound like my screen name when she doing it. Boing, boing. Is that boing, boing? Candace can ride my face. Ew, it's so gross. Ugh. Come on, man. Yuck. Did he introduce them? He did say on the show that Kanye hangs out nearby and we can go look for him after the show. Jamaican researcher of Kamala Harris' ancestors reached out to Candace about her lies. He got no response. Kamala's father and sister is black. Candace knew better. That is good. Why did Kim agree to it where she can't really refile if she wants? That's what I want to know. Okay, so the thing is, she could not prove malice. That was part of what she said in the Facebook, in that video description on the Facebook as well, that she couldn't prove malice. So oftentimes when you do stipulate, the defendant will ask, as just a standard measure, that, okay, for this particular allegation for defamation, if we're agreeing to resolve this matter, you could not prove malice. She didn't have, whether she has sufficient evidence or not, I'm not sure. But she admitted that. And so, of course, her agreeing to dismiss this with prejudice was just part of, the resolution they reached. And she was okay with it because it's just for the malice. For defamation. Let's say Candace goes back out and she makes a new claim on something else. Kimberly Klacik can sue her again on that new allegation. Understand that she cannot refile this specific claim here for the defamation. But let's say she goes out and does something else different. As long as the count is stated, the statement of claim is addressed differently. It doesn't say defamation. If she says, let's say she does show malice, she goes through the steps to make sure that all of the standards for malice to be proven is actually proven, then she can refile. I would just do it under a different statement of claim. The allegation just has to be different. She can't refile this particular case, which is not in the end of the world, because the expectation is the defendant doesn't go out and say anything or do anything else dumb to warrant a new lawsuit. So Candace can't go out and continue to be defamatory and to continue to attack Kimberly Klacik and her character and reputation either. So that would go both ways. You don't want me to sue you again, but you're going to go out here and keep saying dumb shit. Don't expect me to not sue if you continue to accuse me of violating federal laws. Especially when you've already admitted you have no possible way of proving it. Oh yeah, I just can't get past this. This is going to be my thumbnail. This right here is my thumbnail. Defendant Candace Owens admits she is not an investigative journalist. The allegations she made were talking about a federal crime. She had no proof, cannot possibly verify, and could not confirm information she presented as fact. I hope to God the Macron's attorney gets a copy of this video and they use this lawsuit here to help show a pattern of behavior. Candace Owens lying like hell on every little thing, and then wants to decry my First Amendment speech is being attacked as her defense. While she claims she wants to go to discovery phase, but then asks for the court to dismiss a case. Can someone please help me understand? Who says, I don't want this case to be dismissed at all? I don't. I want it to go to discovery phase. And then the first thing you do is file a motion to dismiss with a brief. It's not how it works. And then they're trying to say in the Macron's case, this court doesn't have jurisdiction. Oh God, cut the shit. It's insane. That's my thumbnail, y'all. Becoming Candace. Oh, that's good. The only two people that can tell Candace Owens to shut up is George Farmer and Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk, please do it with a lawsuit. You don't even have to. Don't start no Twitter thing with her. And that's the thing that Candace Owens can't stand, is driving her nuts. She wants Erica Kirk to respond to her so bad, and she's not going to get it. That's the difference. She's not going to get it with Erica Kirk, because then it would just prolong her weaponizing the death of Charlie Kirk from now until eternity. So Erica Kirk is doing the right thing. I wouldn't respond to her behind either. Tell her to kick rocks. Oh man. Maybe do a deep dive on her lawsuit from who? I think we covered the one with the apartment. We covered the USA Today. We covered the High Court of Australia. Now we just covered the Kimberly Klacik lawsuit. Is there another one from the high school one? All right, y'all want to put a one in the chat if you want me to go over the complaint of Candace Owens versus the kids in high school she claimed was being mean to her. We can go over there if y'all want. Put a one in the chat if you want it. Y'all let me know. Put a one in the chat if you want to go over the lawsuit Candace Owens filed against the high school bullies, one of which was the son of a governor or something. He went on to be a governor. Yeah, she was like, they're being mean to me. They're bullying me. They called me the N-word and stuff. And Candace Owens is out here getting people death threats. You know, claiming that Jewish rabbis are drinking the blood of Christians. It makes no sense, man. So it's so crazy. I've been holding on to it for a while, but please use it. Megan said, nope, I'm good on the lawsuit. I got you. Yeah, Candace is the bully right now. She's turned into the bully. But here it is. Here's the thumbnail, y'all. She's not an investigative journalist. She has no proof. She cannot possibly verify, could not confirm. That's the opening argument to the Macron's lawsuit right there. Because Candace, you still need scientific evidence to prove that Brigitte Macron was born a man. You saying it over and over means nothing when it comes to science. Another concept you don't understand. You can't make this stuff up. So, who was it that got involved in her case in high school? Was it the NAACP? I don't know. Was it? Didn't Al Sharpton show up? I don't know. I have to find out. I guess it's part of the court docs. Hold on. Saint said, yes, it was the NAACP. NAACP. They got involved with it because she's black, but now she wants to sit here and talk about Juneteenth. Get this, Juneteenth somehow is still racist. What? It's the day the slaves were freed, girl, from slavery. Get out of here. It's a holiday because we recognize the day slaves were freed. Why does that have to induce racism? We now recognize slavery occurred in the United States. I don't understand. What's wrong with her? And I love everybody. It ain't got nothing to do with that. We celebrate Cinco de Mayo. We celebrate all kinds of holidays based on various ethnicities and backgrounds. We celebrate religious holidays. I mean, the U.S. recognizes a myriad of holidays. Why is it celebrating the day that slaves were freed? That's the one thing that somehow induces racism. But all the other holidays, the myriad of holidays, somehow does not. You can't make this up. It's so ridiculous, man. Mexico and Peru had more African slaves than America. I mean, yeah, it was slavery everywhere. Slavery in many countries. The Caribbean, I mean, slavery everywhere. We celebrate the day slavery was freed here. Slaves were freed here in the United States. Now it's somehow going to, induce racism. Oh, Candace, you're doing that. You're sitting here talking about Jewish people being less than human. And they're drinking the blood of Christians. What is wrong with you? That's so gross. It's so gross. But no one's walking around saying, "Oh, you're racist for celebrating that holiday." Like, come on. Oh, child. Y'all can't make this up. All right, y'all. That's all we got for this right here. Okay. We've checked out a myriad of things. Maybe one day someone can still find me that video of Kimberly Klacik giving her thoughts about the Macron lawsuit, because I would love to hear her thoughts on that. I really would. And she put her through a lot. She put this young lady through a whole lot for no reason. But I'm glad I did go over this so you all can see the difference in, her saying she won something versus no, there was a stipulation to something. And you still filed the motion to dismiss because, like in the Macron case, you're a coward, Candace, and you don't want subpoena power. You don't want people suing you, even though many people have lots of evidence to sue you on, and also to report your ass to the FBI. But you get mad and say someone's trying to bankrupt you for that because all you think about is money. You don't care about the people you're hurting. You don't care about the damage you're causing. You don't care about any of that. So why should anyone care about you being reported, you being investigated? You're sitting here violating laws, misusing CIA logo or the likeness of such to make money off of it. And they're talking about they're not doing their job, so you don't trust the feds. Don't nobody care about that. See how much you trust them if you got reported to them and they have to investigate you. Yeah, there's some stuff out here. Candace Owens has just lost her mind. I think we can all say that. Candace, I'm waiting on you to prove that you have 2 degrees. Because one thing that University of Rhode Island will be doing is responding to my email to confirm whether or not they issued a degree to you. Because we're just asking questions. Yeah, y'all see how that works? All right, y'all. Hit the like button on the way out. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you all. I appreciate the support. Let me get these supers in right quick. Thank you to Jill for the $5 super. Candace is crazy. Keep up the good work. She is. The Nerve Ensemble for the $2.99 super. Thank you, LLC. Candace is gone. Shout out to you, Young 2.0, for the $20 super. We've met our goal, y'all. This is amazing. Thanks for all the information to check these candy asses. Oh, it's so good. Thank you all so much for the support, for the supers, for the likes. Share the videos, share the content. Candace Owens, you can kiss my ass. I don't care about you being mad or your candy asses because they never have any proof of anything. And all they seem to do is commit cyber crimes. When you trample your behinds over here, y'all are leaving digital footprints. You're not smart enough to figure that out. Yeah, okay. Keep on doing it. It's funny to me. All right, y'all. Y'all take care of yourselves, and I will be back on tomorrow. It might be late, it might be short, but who knows? Until then, you guys have a good one. Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.